Whoa. Okay, that's all right. Well, let's start over through the prayers of Holy Father, Jesus Christ, our God of mercy, and save us. And then, good evening for those new here. My name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've worked in Orthodox apologetics since 1998 and the founder of NFTU, True Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been in the apologetic space on Facebook since 2016 and YouTube since 2018. So if you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live as well as member requested video reviews. So let's get started. If you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, please click the link on the top of the chat. Sorry about the mute there. As you know, there's a large television event going on today. And while I used to enjoy making fun of it on Twitter as with my old account, I haven't done anything like that recently, so why not just run the stream right against what they're doing? So let's take a look here. Atomic Lead, that's a spicy thumbnail. Yes, it is. Unseen Warfare says, egg roll, can I get your number? Okay, there. Let's see here, and then everyone else is just muting. Thanks to John MC, was a member, so we got that on screen. And Black Ortho Acolyte, thank you for letting me know. Okay, so we're adding Unseen Warfare to the chat. How's it going?
How you doing, Father?
No problem. Okay, Isaac here. Father bless. May God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So for anyone who asks, if you want to, that's fine. Let's take a look here. Now you just came off of a stream yourself, didn't you?
I did. Yep. I finished up about 6:20, and did something on the new martyrs because how we're venerating, commemorating them today. So yeah, it was our
Father
Boniface
Benedicite. Very good to see you there. And let me see here. I hope you're feeling better, Father. I know a number of people have been hit with stuff. I had a weird experience. Thank God. I think it's over. So I can finally take my medications now. But that weird, I ended up eating something that was labeled as a small chicken, but wasn't. And I had severe stomach pain, pretty much for most of the night yesterday.
That's so strange. It
was some kind of weird bird. Yeah, I know. I don't know what it was. I thought it was a grouse, basically, is what we kind of concluded it was. But in any case, all right. So,
you probably get paid for that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. John MC makes the point. One of the 4 major high holy days of the American church calendar. New Year's Eve at Times Square, Super Bowl Sunday, the Oscars, and Halloween. You're not wrong. The amount of hype around this event is excruciatingly annoying. But what are you going to do? It's, let me see here. Lamont Lamont 0809 says, going down World Orthodoxy Western right rabbit hole. It's not adding up. Is Roquar and Peace still calling Western Rite clergy? Yes. Oh yeah. No, they recognize the Antiochian Western Rites. They recognize the people that joined them. So yeah, they're I think what's really happening, to be honest, is that the bishops themselves of the Roquar and P have just had enough of it, and so it's not enough. It's not so much about canonical recognition as it is personal preference. Let me see here. I know.
So what's the difference? So with what's practiced at the Abbey, it's like Western Roman, right? As opposed to like, it's pre-schism, right?
Yeah, what's practiced at the Abbey is pre-schism. It is what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very dumbed down version of what the Roman Rite really is. So you're gonna see something that looks a lot more like a Roman Catholic or Anglican Mass, which is exactly their plan and their point, than you will a Western Orthodox liturgy. Because the difference between what we're doing in terms of restoring the pre-schism Western rites and what they're doing, which is slightly modifying Roman Catholicism and Anglicanism, as always, our focus is on the truth, and their focus is on making a good copy of a Roman Catholic or Anglican church. to make it easier for ecumenism, etc.
Right. So I had that conversation with somebody, and they were trying to say, no, they were trying to put what they're doing in World Orthodoxy on what I was talking about. And I was like, no, there is a difference and there's a distinction. I tried to get them to go
Yeah,
to
no, if
Bishop
they're
Enoch's channel. They just wouldn't hear it.
right,
It's
yeah,
pretty
that's how they
unbearable.
operate, unfortunately. If if they're referencing Saint John, they don't even use a liturgy close to what he was using, which it was itself a pastiche. Let me take a look here. I know that we have another. I know we have a question that came up a little earlier this week, and I said I'd answer it on the show. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in. This came from Twitter X, so I'm gonna put it in there. No. Lamont says I looked up the Russian critique on Common Prayer, but then Tikhon still approved it. First off, it's Saint Tikhon. Second off, no, he didn't. The liturgy of Saint Tikhon wasn't approved in World Orthodoxy until the 70s, over 50 years after he had already passed on. So I'm going to put this question up. Give me a moment. From X, can you tell me about the history of the iconostasis? Was there always an icon screen which separated the altar from the nave? Was this practice observed in the West? So to answer each of these questions, the iconostas ultimately comes from the templon, and the root screen actually shares the history with that. And what you find is that the templon grew larger and larger in both cases. The root screen. John asks, root screen is what's known as the root is Old English for cross. So that's where we get the term. But basically, they all originate from that same basic partitioning that actually existed in the temple period. Okay. Give me one moment. Oh, sorry about that. May God bless you, sunrise, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yeah, so that I think. Well, let me see if there was more to this because I know there was some. Was there always an icon screen which separated the altar from the nave? It wasn't always covered in icons, but there was always a divider. Was this practice observed in the West? Yes, it was. No problem, Lamont. Glad we could be of service. So let's take a look here. So Sunrise says, "What do you think of Groundhog Day?" Um, I think it's a goofy custom that may be rooted in some sort of pagan, kind of thinking. This magical thinking that the mystical groundhog shall determine, the temperature of the earth is kind of goofy when you think about it. But in any case, I wouldn't call it. It's not harmless, but it's not harmful. It's like most things. I hate to say it. It's just like empty calories. It's not good for you. Let me see here. Or at least endorsed by St. John, or St. John only endorsed the Gallican Rite. That was it. And the Gallican Rite is only in use, or was in use, by one priest in the U.S. who eventually joined Rokor MP, if I remember correctly. But I don't even know if he kept his right.
I think Bishop Enoch said that St. John had done the Western Roman Rite at some point, but I don't.
Yes, he had.
Yeah.
But now that's a unique case. And it wasn't. I don't think he was using the books that they had approved on the Antiochian side. He was probably most likely using either Latin liturgy itself. And so I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what text he used, or you could ask Bishop
I think
Enoch
Bishop
on that
Enoch
one.
made a post about it, and he showed sort of St. John laying out how it should be performed, and
Yes,
something
he
like
did do.
that.
He did. I saw that he did do like kind of like he set up like an ordo and rules that needed to be followed, etc. Let me see here. Father Boniface says, if I'm not mistaken, it is the first day of groundhog mating season. Oh, okay. Well, that seems harmless. Notice how the celebration is performed by men in Masonic-like apparel. I did notice that, actually. That's very true. Was not St. Seraphim Rose against the Western Rite? I doubt it, considering how much he wrote about it. The best example I can give is his translation of Vita Patrum, where he includes about 80 pages of supplementary text so that people understand what exactly was happening with the pre-schism Western fathers, and so people wouldn't get misinterpretations. For example, a root screen is similar to, but not identical to, an iconostas. What often happens is that people read back into history. I've heard people say, well, that's where the iconostas would be in a Western church. And I'm like, that's not an iconostas. John MC says, rood related to rod or pole, stavros, Arabic salab, cross came into English via Norman French, from Latin crux, of course.
I think Saint Philaret, I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, he might be referring to Saint Philaret's prohibition.
And I have something on that. It's in front of me. It's from Vladika Enoch. What he told me, because I asked him this question in an email, and what he said was that Saint Philaret, well, he may have opposed the restored Gallican rite. That's fine. He says he's ambivalent about it because since it's a very fragmentary compared to our Western Orthodox Roman rite that's performed at the Abbey of the Holy Name. To his understanding, the Roe Court decision in 1977 states that the Western rite as it exists comes after the schism and can't be used for that reason. And he said that he agreed if the Western rite is based on post-schism material, it shouldn't be used. So there's no disagreement as far as he knows. He doesn't say pre-schism Western rite is condemned. Additionally, he says he would oppose the use of Western rite in any Roke or Greek context. It simply isn't meant for them, and they are more than likely to cause issues with it. So he says he doesn't see an issue.
Okay. Well, that's very handy. Thank you for that. Let's see. Reese says, I think that the early Western Rite utilized a lot of the Roman office, simply reworked to be Orthodox compatible. I think that would be more like the liturgy of the hours than the mass. So, maybe, although from what I understood, most of the early history of the Church of France was about the reworking of the Gallican liturgy, which is structurally a slightly different liturgy. Sunrise says, I saw someone who's translating Father Seraphim Rose's letters into all languages, concerned about censorship. God willing, they can also, copy the original texts too that weren't modified. John says, guys, Chiefs, Eagles, or NFTU. Well, I got to vote for me.
He's talking about that guy that we've been talking to on X, I think, right?
What?
Sunrise, when he's talking about these letters in all languages.
Oh, you talking
that database or whatever?
Angry dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, angry dude. He kind of flamed out after being challenged. Father bless. What do you think of Dennis? God bless you. In the name of the Father and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I don't know who that is. I mean, that could be anyone. That could even be a living person. I have no idea what you are talking about. Black Ortho Acolyte. Are the old calendarists more receptive to the Western Rite than the world churches? No. So on Old Calendar Lady, they're going pretty hard against St. Augustine and the Western Rite. Most people will go against the Western Rite. Not so much St. Augustine, but one of the things that drives me nuts being in this space, and this is part of the reason why I try to promote Bishop Enoch's channel, etc., is that I do not want to ever give the impression that true Orthodoxy is big on Western Rite. That's not the case. Did I put out a Super Bowl commercial for the NFTU light? No, I did not. The NFTU light is going to stay quiet today. It's where it needs to be, and so I won't be randomly grabbing the NFTU light today. So it will be in peace. Once again, this is our live Q&A session where you can get your questions live as well as member requested video reviews. If you'd like to discuss, you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click a link in the top of the chat. If you want your comment to appear on the screen, I will be taking super chats from the YouTube chat, and I will get to that as to why that one is very, very important. So let's see here.
So I asked Vladika John, why I guess so many people are against, Western Rite. And he said, he gave me an answer, and his answer was that, that it was probably rooted in some pride there, from a lot of the people, and that he felt like that the Western Rite, the purpose for why he does it at the Abbey of the Holy Name, is because we need, in some sense, need to humble the Greeks a little bit. That this is just as much about part of the Orthodox tradition as far as it's pre-schism material. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That was
I
just
get
what I was
it.
thinking.
But on the other hand, I also want to point out that that I get like the logic behind it, and I love and respect the Western Rite. I had used it for over 10 years before I was ordained a priest.
Right.
I even used it afterwards. But ultimately, it's a niche topic. It is one that I see Bishop Enoch is gaining a lot of followers on because a lot of people are interested in it. But this is to what do you call it? This is generally for Orthodox all over the world. I've always been doing that. Ree says to humble the Greeks. I've never heard the expression. It makes sense to me what he means, but I would assume he's talking about within our communion. It's not going to really humble anyone else. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
okay.
I guess what he's saying is that, just in the same way that, St. John Maximovich is saying, never, never, never let anyone tell you that in order to be Orthodox that you need to be Eastern, that the West was fully Orthodox for 1,000 years. What it's saying is that Orthodoxy isn't exclusively one rite, you know, and as long as the material is a part of the Orthodox tradition, from my understanding with speaking with him on it, is that by avoiding it or acting like it's not valid in some way is almost rejecting a piece of our own tradition. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
not. I'm not.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah. I mean, I like. I don't know. Anyway. Yep. John says, Father bless. God bless you. Father Boniface, what did you have for dinner today? I thought we were done with this.
Well, I haven't had dinner yet,
Aha.
but I will have hamburger with bell pepper and onions mixed in, cooked in olive oil, and that'll probably with some lettuce and tomato, and that will probably be it. So
Um,
there, I'll have that in a
okay.
little while. But I wanted to address the idea of the Western Rite and the fact that there's a whole history in the West that's just being shoved aside by the Eastern Orthodox Church. And, Vladika John put in a tremendous, monumental effort in putting forth the Western Rite liturgy. Just incredible
Absolutely.
amount of work,
Mm-hmm.
years in the making, and how he could do 36 volumes plus, and translating all the Latin into the English is just incredible work and gift, gift from God, and it's preserving Western heritage. And so, because St. Patrick, St. Dunstan, I mean, all these
Oh,
English saints
Zelotus
were
asked for a
doing
blessing
this.
real quick. Yep. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And it's I realize that many people, for example, in our own synod, are Western Rite. Um, there's no way to kind of change that, and I don't think it should be changed. But what I'm saying is that when we have to deal with ultimately the rest of the true Orthodox in the world. Let me see here. Orthodox Donuts official says hi. Black Ortho Acklet is talking to John. Lamonte09 says it's not living though. No, it's quite living. People use it. Reconquista Orthodox says I might be moving to Nebraska. Is there any GOC parishes? I think so. Maybe, or maybe I'm confusing it with Oklahoma. I'm not sure. Okay.
this is the last thing I'll say on it too, because this person here, Lamont, is saying restoring is a Mormon thing. Because I
Restoring?
did ask that, and what Vladikton told me is that it's not restored. There has always been people that have used it. It's just that they weren't maybe well known, or people don't necessarily know about it. So,
Well, yeah, there was a Russian version of the Western liturgy that was used on Athos until the 17th century, for example. And there was also a Slavonic version that was known about in Russian, like especially among the old right people. And so when you start getting to that level, and you start talking about when the Western right really started again, in like you're talking about a loss of maybe 100 to 150 years. But again, one thing I will say is that I try to make this place welcoming for everyone.
absolutely, I understand.
That's kind of the goal. And so it's a tricky thing, but Nakpal says, is Saint Nectarios the saint of our century? By Sotos Kondropoulos, a reliable book to read about Saint Nectarios of Aegina. I don't know. I've never heard of that book. Hold on, I'll tell you in a moment. The saint of our century. Let me see here. Looking for the book. Okay, Saint Nectar, Ancient Faith. Let me just see, because I'm pretty sure that probably. Hold on. Yeah, that I wouldn't. That's gonna be what's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna be probably watered down. Let me think here. Okay, let me see here. That's the Saint of our century. Uh-huh. Yeah, I would say the most reliable one would probably be Modern Orthodox Saints number 7, Saint Nectarius of Aegina by Constantine Kavarnos. In my opinion, would be the best one to use, and there's a lot of his own writings that are available in English. Yeah. Let me see here. Black Ortho Acolyte says, just not a fan of the Greek supremacist sentiments I always see. Like, things are always more holy by virtue of being Greek. Even a word isn't good enough unless it's it's in Greek. Tiresome. I get it. I get it. That is something that bothers a lot of people, not just you. And unfortunately, I'm not going to come up with a solution tonight for it. It's just not realistic. Oh, thank you. I missed this question. You didn't have to. I feel bad now. Why are Protestants so against alcohol? Well, Father Boniface, since you were a Protestant, I'll let you have this one.
I would say that it was influenced by the American prohibitionist movement.
Okay.
So they're just following the American government. And so it has a fair history. Welch's was that kind of a abolitionist style, get rid of alcohol. It was a new baby that the abolitionists picked up and could harp on. And so that's what Welch did when he pasteurized the grapes. And, so that's just one instance. So it's influenced by you could say the humanistic, Unitarian, liberal, theological group that just wanted to be Pharisaical.
Okay. Hold on a moment. See, Orthodox Donuts official. You just need more fronema. Black Orthodox Acolyte. Okay, you guys are joking with each other. That's cool. John says Russian supremacy. Yeah, the American prohibitionists were formed from Protestants. That's absolutely right.
there is a writing from Father Seraphim Rose where he sort of talks about, that although might be the case with some people, that, as far as the Greek situation, that it's not all of them, and he didn't agree, like, because he felt like some people might go to the extreme and almost become too radical against the Greeks. You know what I mean? Like, be anti-Greek almost. And
Yeah.
we shouldn't be that way either, I don't think. Just putting that out there.
John
Well,
asks, Father. Oh, What?
I think there also, again, it needs to be reemphasized, resaid that there were other rites too. The rite of St. James, there were other liturgies, and they're still being practiced all over the world. So, there aren't just two, there are lots.
Yeah, people don't realize, for example, that the liturgy of St. James that is used now actually wasn't used for hundreds of years. So that same argument could be used that way. Let me see here. Father, what made the reformers drop patristic teachings like the virgin birth, real presence, etc.? Well, I would say it was a further and further disconnection. The early reformers held to a number of Orthodox teachings, but just within a few years, as the historical practice of the church became more and more ignored, and people began to come up with this idea that they could find all their answers in the Bible, like some some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Bibliomancy. They kind of lost all those teachings. Father, I'm not sure this is true, but I've seen certain claims made that the Franciscans believed in essence energy distinction at one point. Is that true? I have no idea. I would have to look it up. I don't know that they may have found it an interesting concept, but I don't know. I've never heard anything like that. Once again, just a quick reminder that if you could support the channel, we at NFT need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nft.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero, or on Give Send Go. With that said, one thing I would like to address. Okay, let me see here. Atomic Lead says, I believe Father Christian Catholics claimed that St. Mark said Scotus was closer to EED and Triadology, but Florence was dominated by Dominicans who followed Aquinas. Possibly, but so said Sarah from Hamilton. I'd have to look at the texts. Honestly, I find that whenever I hear these semi-ecumenistic claims and you ask for the physical text, they're not as good as people claim. Sunrise said, did they ban wine during Prohibition? I believe that there was an exception for churches, if I remember correctly. I'm not an expert on the history of Prohibition, however.
I don't know about that one. I think they banned all alcohol, but to me, it was like a Protestant prejudice against the use of wine in the church. You could look at it that way.
I think he's talking about the legal, the prohibition that was done, by the U.S. government. Because there was always, with the U.S. government, there was always an acceptive clause. And I know it was the case for pharmacies. I'm not too sure if it was the case for churches, but,
probably the Roman Catholic Church would have objected, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so too. John MC says, yes, wine was banned during Prohibition. Italians in NYC made wine in their cellars. Jesus got a special permission for kosher wine for Sabbath. But I feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? Size-wise, the Roman Catholic Church was pretty big. Give me just a moment.
That's an interesting topic. Wow. Banning,
Hold on.
Well, there you go. It blends with Protestantism that they would want to eliminate wine, let's say alcohol.
Yeah, during the Prohibition, the Roman Catholic Church was allowed to continue using wine for religious purposes due to an exemption in the Volstead Act. So this was actually crucial for the survival of many wineries, particularly in California, where grape production for Sacramento wine increased by 700 during Prohibition. It's not.
That's funny.
So they did have something that was. They did have something that they were able to use for that. So let me just see here. So I'll put that up there. I got the full answer. Father, I make my own organic cigarettes from Reconquista. Orthodox is good for you. Nicotine is a neuroprotective and helps with gut issues. I'm not going to get into the right and wrong of smoking. This is something that I think has been discussed many times on this channel, even. What does the whole commemoration Rome mean, you guys throw around? Lamont, what it means is when we commemorate, and in the liturgy, we commemorate the heads of our synods, for example, the heads of our sister churches. That's something known as the diptychs, which the primates of the churches have, and they maintain each other's names to maintain communion. So what that means is if you are naming the Pope of Rome the head of the church, you believe that the Roman Catholic Pope is the head of the church worldwide, Orthodoxy, effectively, and Protestantism.
Right.
He's in charge of all of it.
And there's
Anonymous
video
Man
footage of
115
that.
says, "Is there a kind of meditation in Orthodox Christian practice, or is it just contemplation?" No, it's not contemplation. It's prayer. We're not supposed to be coming up with ideas and meditations. All of these concepts involve the human mind enveloping itself. What we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be praying to God, and that is how that's how we get past the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, the demon of fantasy. That's to compromise, as we have footage of it happening at the Finar over multiple years. It's been happening since 1965. Let me see here. Reader John says they can't have my moonshine. Orthodox Donuts official says I have a based video on my channel. I have no idea who Orthodox Donuts official is, but pretty funny. The SIG pill the conquista of the SIG pill will never die. Oh, I wish people stopped talking about pills. Oh, that's a topic on its own. I feel like that is really where I'd like to go with this conversation for a bit. Let me see what H.L. Mencken, a great lover of beer, said during Prohibition. These Protestants are annoyed that somewhere, somehow, someone might be enjoying himself. Yeah, probably true. Yeah, it's not contemplative prayer. It's just prayer. Just say the prayers. If you are reading the prayers properly, you will not have a contemplation problem because you will be concentrating on your reading. Rise says, can you explain in more detail what your position is on Father Daniel Siosev? You hinted at in your last appearance in October. My position has been, as I understand it, the entire kind of production of occultists, etc., is based around his widow's boyfriend's company, who was involved in some sort of scandal involving their daughters, and it was a sexual scandal. To me, these things alone make me question what his life was really like, and give me concerns, as well as a number of things he said about the ROCOR, about the True Orthodox. So I at this point, I'm less inclined towards trusting him as a saint.
Yeah, his comments on the Catacomb Church are pretty horrendous.
Awful, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it not Ivan IV who banned importation of tobacco by the British? Very well could be. I do know that at one point, tobacco smokers in Russia were they could be charged criminally. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Okay, thanks, Father. All right, so, but that let me see here. So is the MP going to canonize him? I don't think so. I think that it's unlikely because the MP does not subscribe to, at the very least, what we can say about Father Daniel Siosev is that he did believe in the idea of one church. So he believed that the Catholics and the Protestants, etc., were all outside the church. So that's actually against official Moscow Patriarchate positions.
Right.
So he was already disliked by many people while also being liked, even when he was alive, including in the highest sections of the MP hierarchy. There are websites devoted to talking about what was wrong with his thinking in Russia. So
what was his position on the monophysites? Do you know?
It was negative. He considered them to be non-Orthodox. But ultimately, he had this whole Uranopolis idea The whole globalized cosmic world concept.
Oh wow.
Let me see. As Zalota says, at some point, we, the old calendar, should be taking the persecutions of the new calendarists to our priests and bishops of the period 1951 to 1955 very serious and demand an apology. I feel like we're already past that, and what I mean by that is just the GOC Kalinikos alone in Europe and America has 19 bishops. I'm pretty sure that the GOC Makarios has something like 14 bishops. So you're talking then that's like 33, 35 bishops. They're in communion with, say, for example, the Rokor A, which has another, I think, like 13 bishops, or the Rokor Orokana, which has another 2 or 3 bishops. Rokor V, which has another, I think, 8 bishops. Then you got Roak, which has another 8 or 9 bishops. Our own Russians, which have another, I believe it's 10 or 11 bishops. The True Orthodox Romanians, who I think have like 11 or 12 bishops. The True Orthodox Bulgarians, who have like 5 or 6 bishops. The reason I'm bringing up this great number of bishops is because I have a very strong feeling that the new calendarists are never going to back down. And what is actually going to happen is, over time, and we're kind of dealing with it now, over time, the True Orthodox are going to have to work on getting more organized. They're going to have to work on building the church, rebuilding from all the destruction. Reader John says, more saints spoke against smoking than those that actually smoked. Yes, I know, I agree. And I think that the desire to, I think the desire to go with the whole smoking thing very simply is a desire to be edgy. I get it. But all I'll say is, after 30 something years, it has very real health effects. So it's not good. Yeah. Father just did upper cervical adjustments, and it's awesome. Highly recommend over gay pharma pimp doctors. Okay, great. Sunrise says, but World Orthodox call setas, even though setas don't have bishops. I have the Zolita says, I have the feeling it needs to come up from all of us. It does. It's gonna need to. One thing that many True Orthodox are not totally aware of is just how global we really are. That in almost any country where you can find the Orthodox Church, you can find a True Orthodox Church. There's a few exceptions, but I would say that they're the minority rather than the majority. Isaac says St. John of Kronstadt has helped me motivate me to quit. It's very difficult. Well, glory to God, and don't stop trying. Let me see here. That's compromise says LOL. So yeah.
On the Sunrise comment, I would just say that that's probably rooted in that they're, because they're kind of like crypto unions. So of course they would think in terms of sedevacantis,
Yeah. Pretty much. Let me see here. And so, yeah, let's see here. So the I had a few things I wanted to talk about today, and the whole the pill thing came up. Okay, wait, we got another. Thank you for supporting the channel, Black Earth Acolyte. Do you believe EP and MP canonizations post 1965 were tactical or still inspired by the Holy Spirit? Oh, no, they were tactical, without a doubt. That doesn't mean they weren't right occasionally. Yeah, raw milk pill. Oh boy. I may as well just get right down to the whole problem I have with the pill speak. All of this kind of came from, as you probably know, the movie The Matrix, which is still used as a kind of cynical grid of behavior that behavior that kind of, I hate to say it, but exhibits the worst of human weakness. Let me see here. Father use ISO 222002 coins, XRP, XLM, and XDC, yeah, and Escape the Matrix and Buy Bugatti. Yeah, but it's more than that. It's really, we've had red pills and blue pills uh, for years now. Years. This is all, kind of old. But what the problem with it is that it is fully permeated into the social structure, even generationally. And that's an extremely dangerous place to be. Black pill, yes, exactly. Because all of these are kind of still working within that same, I'll just say it, functionally evil paradigm that was presented in the movies. Whether
Gnostic, it's fully
it's not just,
Gnostic.
yeah, it's Gnostic, but even more importantly, it's kind of deconstructionist when it comes to everything. When it comes to life, nothing is quote unquote real anymore. And with that came the advent of changing genders. Shoot, the two directors of the movies changed genders on us by the third one. Uh,
Right.
the
They even
whole
had like a character that was like that, that would go into the Matrix and then they were somebody else or something. It erodes the roles that we're supposed to take, and it kind of deems reality or the material world as this evil thing, which the Gnostics pushed.
yeah,
That
the dualism, yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
But again, well, what it came down to, and this is what I wanted to talk to, is it came down to one of the reasons it works is because it came down to popular fear of AI. Now for those who are kind of, you know, into the whole AI thing, because that was really where the Matrix took off. That was a concept that when humans created AI, then the robots would take over, and then now we live on a ship in the middle of nowhere, and it was kind of dumb and kind of annoying. But at that back then, people were like, "Hey, special effects," and honestly, I believe many people in that generation, which was my generation, I guess, were hypnotized by this. It became ubiquitous throughout society to use this matrixized language, and until we got to pilling and so on and so forth. John Wrinkle is correct. He says, I prefer the body and blood of Christ than some colorful pill." But one of the reasons that it worked is because many of the technologist authors, science fiction authors, so on. Let me see here. Sunrise says, "Don't you think there is a reverse today too, where the spiritual is non-existent and the material is all that matters?" Well, yeah, absolutely. This is my point. It becomes material as tool versus material as God. And so the point is that what a lot of the technologists, science fiction writers, so on and so forth, and many of whom were connected with globalist organizations, they had a dream of making a god of their own design. And ultimately, that is what the popular view that's promoted on AI is. It is a God we control, a God we make it do what we want, so on and so forth. While on the flip side, there are people who are actually terrified of this, which was also intentional, because for those who did not want this sort of dystopian future, they were heavily assured that it was inescapable. And so, in that sense, uh, I I feel that a lot of people, when they approach this, they kind of approach it from a view where they really don't have any idea of what's going on. And so I wanted to address that because I don't know if you guys know this. I told Marshall, Father, I don't know if I told you this, but I used to be kind of a nerd. And when I say that, I mean like a big nerd, not just like I wore glasses occasionally. Like I mean like I was into like people. I noticed people were talking about GATE, like the gifted and talented. I was involved in that as a kid. I went to a science high school. I used to get early magazines in the 1980s about some of the earliest computers and computer programs.
Right.
And so this is something that I look at the world very differently than most people, especially when it comes to computers. So, back when I was a kid, let's just say when I would say probably I was like maybe 10 years old. Um, hold on. There was a program, and the program was called Eliza. Now, Eliza was in fact an early example of AI usage. So early that it would work on things as primitive as Commodore 64 or even simpler. Now I know that I'm being kind of I'm not. Let me see here. I'm trying to get something on the screen, but the whole point is, what they did was this one scientist, I think his name was Joseph Steinbaum or something. He created he wanted to create an interactive talking interface, effectively a chatbot. And this in the 1970s, like 1976 or something. Um, Let me just see here. For some reason, not much is working. So let me see if I can fix that. But so I'm kind of making a. Let me see here. Reconquista Orthodox. While we're waiting for that, says Father beef tallow is making a comeback for fast food. Yeah, well, good. Thank God. I make America healthy again. I guess to me, it's just okay. Great. I haven't. I mean, I've been avoiding seed oils now for months, so like I'm okay with that. But like, let me just see here why this is not working. Give me a second.
Really, that mentality just seems it gives into nihilism and absurdism, and just it's too idealistic. It's pushing towards like this utopian, ideal, like a kingdom of man, in the words of Father Seraphim Rose, instead of a kingdom of God. And
I think Seraphim Vladimir Moss. Well, I think it was he that I read that said that AI is like the democratization of intelligence. It's and I think it's fitting in with everything that's being said here, but it's majority opinion, majority intelligence that's trying to rule the world here. And so I think Moss's article on America with de Tocqueville puts it quite well too. Is that de Tocqueville said back in the 1830s when he came over to America from France that democracy was majority rule intellectually, and they were squashing the minority voice. And so what it was doing, what was that it was such a bully move that it was intimidating the idea of free thought, and then effectually making America become dumbed down. And so, here's AI is only going to be as smart as those who feed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, if you have a dumbed down society as a whole, you're feeding into just continued mediocrity. So, they think that this is going to be the most intelligent thing in the world. Actually, I think it has potential for being one of the most stupid things in the world, which is going to create chaos.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. But I'm still waiting for this thing to load. It's taking forever. Sunrise says it's kind of related, but lucid dreaming is popular. And it's another way to make your own reality that people use. I think trying to make your own reality as opposed to grasping on what reality is way more is dangerous. Ortho Justice Prasnikum, Reader John says AI is the democratization of the programmer's biases. That's absolutely true. This is bizarre because it is not loading properly.
I mean, I think that there is, maybe a gray area where there could be some usefulness to it. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes progress, all we think about is the progress, and we don't think about the beauty of the struggle in between whatever it is that we're trying to do. And, I talk about this. We talk about this a lot with Machine, and he says, like technique ends up kind of enslaving man. You get kind of caught on autopilot, you know. I don't know.
It's a technique that's created by those who create the technique. And if those who create the technique have ill will and malice and want people dumbed down, it's going to straitjacket people into that technique throughout all society.
Right.
That the homeschool movement was a reaction to the technique of the public school system, which was definitely dumbing people down. There's a whole book on it by Charlotte Iserbyt. You can see it on YouTube. I have it. It's very thick, and it's about American legislation, the deliberate dumbing down of America. But you see, when people exert independent thought, which the world hates and has always hated, basically, you have that conflict. I remember being a tutor with one tutoring company here in my city, and I mentioned to them that my 12-year-old child graduated high school at 12 years old, and they were like marveled, and then they marveled at the fact that I was getting good results from the one student I was tutoring. And so they wondered, how did you do it? I said, I homeschooled. And then they couldn't say a thing. They all got quiet because they were all public school mentality, and the public school cannot produce any kind of excellence in education. It can't.
Well, it doesn't want to, because the elitists that cover it, what was like it was one of those guys, like a Rothschild, or maybe not a Rothschild, but like a what's the other one, Rockefeller or something. One of these guys, he didn't want the American people to be intelligent. He wanted them to be worker bees. Essentially, it's like just dumb them down and send them out and do the basic jobs that we need or whatever. So
right. Yeah. So that's why the church is an enemy, because the church produces fruit that excels. Especially the Orthodox Church. The Protestant Church is a product of the American government, which basically the Protestant Church is a dumbed down church. And that's quite obvious. But I've been through it and I've seen it, and I'm out of it, by God's grace. So anyway.
Okay, well, this is incredibly awkward. I have been trying to download what is a relatively tiny program. And it seems, despite my best attempts, it was available on Internet Archive. As a matter of fact, you know what? Why not? Let's democratize the whole thing. It's this is 3.4 megabytes, but in actuality, the original was somewhat closer to 100K, which is, if that's like smaller than your average picture. Anyone can click on the link that I've provided there. This is an AI chatbot that was designed in 1976. And what I'm just going to put it on the screen, even if I can't share it, because it's, apparently it's frozen on me for some reason, but it can't be frozen for everybody. So I'm just going to put this, kind of semi-dead on the screen thing, because it should be downloading, but it doesn't take that long. In the end, this was first designed in 1979. So just for those keeping track, that's about 45 years ago. It basically was a mock therapist, which would basically repeat back to you what you said and say things like "I see" or "okay." However, the programmer Joseph Weizenbaum discovered that, in fact, he used to use that in the Parrot program on the old Commodore 64. Exactly. The point of this was that what's it called? He was trying to demonstrate a question and answer bot. But what it came down to was, when his secretary wanted to test it out, because he would allow friends and other people to test it out to see if they could make it more realistic, etc. But within a few attempts, his secretary, when she wanted to play with it, and not play with it, but talk to it, she asked him to leave the room, the programmer. Now, the programmer knew that frankly this was just a parrot box. It just shot back what you were saying in a different form. But she took it so seriously in terms of the communication that she asked him to leave the room, even though apparently, well, she may not have known much about how it was programmed. But the point I'm trying to make with this is that this technology is not just pretty old, but a lot of the concepts behind it, including a lot of the things when we're talking about the elites and we're talking about the technologists, etc. A lot of these people saw this computerized humanity, this digitized humanity, as a religion. And so the point is, they were crazy people. Now, Weizenbaum realized this and started seeing all the crazy stuff and things like singularity. He wrote a fantastic book, which I highly recommend to just about anyone who anyone who is interested in the topic and wants to see the reality of things. Because ultimately, yeah, Seaman video game was the beginning of AI. I've never played that game, so you might be right, but I don't know what that is. I'm talking about something from my own life experience because I was playing with Eliza when I was a kid. And so, people are amazed by the chatbots now to the point where they're trying to develop relationships with them. And these things are just giant. What's the word I'm looking for? They're like, technically LLMs are kind of like giant autocorrects that try to predict what you're looking for. Let me see here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys that are, like an Elon or something, they're pushing for this technocracy, this,
Well, to them, it's a religion. They believe this
Yeah.
is the way to immortality. But the point is, Weizenbaum realized that these people who existed even back then were going to use technology like this to dazzle people into belief. And yes, I know they have AI friend apps. Some people have committed suicide to them. Reader John says AI is part of the transhumanist religion. Does it have to be? I would say it doesn't. I would say that AI, and I'll prove it here. Forget about Eliza for a second. Give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, no. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. 1 moment, please.
So
There's like a
Eliza
verse.
sounds like a prophet, prophesying of the new salvation.
Ultimately, yeah. Except that the idea is, what's it called? The idea is that, getting these people to believe in them is what they're really looking for. Give me just a moment. Now, let me see here. Sunrise says Chinese AI will explode if you ask about Taiwan. I assume you're talking about DeepSeek. Okay. Recklin Keeson was a fish with a human face, and you could speak to it with it and tell it what to do. It was on Dreamcast. I can guarantee you, Eliza, safely is considerably older than Dreamcast. Give me just a moment. AI is a cleaner form of a fortune teller. It really isn't. It's not. It's all a program. I have no. I'm just going to try to see if I can demonstrate this. 1 second.
The verse in Revelations where it talks about like men will wish for death and won't be able to die. That seems like what's going to maybe come out of all this.
True. Yeah, it could be. Let me see. Okay. Still waiting on a few things, but I've got some other things to show you. So this is an important topic to me only because of the fact that it is. We're at a unique historical inflection point where the truth is coming out in massive amounts. People are no longer restrained by media blinders, and ultimately we have the ability to distribute and to distribute this information and use the information and the knowledge and the tools we have. Well, Sunrise, as well as we've already seen, the papists are already using AI. That's absolutely true. And if all of you remember how Justin and I, how we worked it out, if you haven't, check that out. However, while we're waiting for Eliza here, I'm going to switch this up, and I'm going to share something else. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, for anyone wondering what this is, I wonder if I can make the. Okay, I can't make it bigger that way. I'm gonna have to work on the. Size. Let me see here. Okay. If you're wondering what this is a GPT. Now, you've all seen, I'm sure, Chat GPT, so on and so forth. The difference between Chat GPT and what you're looking at now is that it's on my computer. It's not running from the internet. Even my stupid question, how are the great fasts, because I wasn't concentrating, it did try to answer very well. If you notice, I've got a bunch of documents from the Father Alexander sides, from the process. The tech has been around a long time. Let me see here. If you're talking about Elijah, yes. If you're talking about what this GPT, no way. That's impossible. But there is an Elijah C64 implementation. Reconquista tech has been around for a long time. Reconquista said, I remember I went to a car show in '99. One of the main cars was called a Lincoln Cielo. The car would engage in conversations, or the car was remote controlled or radio. Yeah, possibly. So this is something that I want to point out, is that this technology exists and we can make it work for good, or we can be afraid of it and assume it's a harbinger of evil, which is exactly what the evil people trying to run their own AIs are actually saying. In other words, you're making it a self-fulfilling prophecy if you aren't trying to use these things for benefit. Let me see here. Hold on. Just close that. And so let me see here what we got going.
I get what you're saying. It's almost like, they don't want anybody else kind of using it, so they demonize it in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, but
fear that it it's not in their control.
So this file, the Eliza file, no. If you wanted to get the Commodore 64 version, I'm gonna see if where it is. Give me a second. Let me see here, because this one's on DOSBox on the Internet Archive. Like, it just works on its own, so it is a DOS program. So that you could, in theory, do that, but the point is, it's mindless. And so, okay, let me stop the screen. So yeah, that's the big deal, is that this technology not only exists, but we can use it ourselves. A good example of that is what Gab is doing with their AI. Granted, they're Protestants, but like, for example, what Sunrise said about the Chinese AI, they actually did take DeepSeek and they did try to take out the censoring, and they realized it's pretty bad in terms of it's not nearly as useful as one would think. Okay, and I'm still waiting. I don't know what's wrong with the Internet Archive today. It's like it's dead, super slow. But okay. So once again, just a quick reminder that that's we at NFTU need your support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net. With various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero, or on Give Send Go. I will make a note. The BTC address I had to change over the weekend. I don't have access to that right now. So I don't know if there's anyone who wants to donate with BTC. Hopefully the new address will help. And give me a moment here. Okay, we're going to just... Gonna get this started. I'm gonna put this up. Let's see here. Okay, I've got okay.
You know what's interesting about the pill routine is they say, you need a red pill or whatever. The pill gives you a sight of reality.
Mm-hmm.
What are the ingredients in that pill? That's what I want to know. In other words, they think that, drugs, pills are going to be your emancipation. Ha!
Well, also, yeah, pharmaceutical dependence is another thing that comes out of that. Give me one moment, and I just want to put. Okay, what I'm doing now is just so that I am adding. I am adding like kind of like a ticker there. I don't have a proper donation bar yet. I will get there eventually, but let's take a look here. Any good videos to review? That's a good question. I've seen some videos, and I definitely would like to definitely get to those, but let me see. Okay. Eliza C64, by the way. Yeah, I could actually just use the Commodore 64 version. But yeah, here, oh, thank you for the super sticker and for supporting the channel. This is what keeps the lights on, believe it or not, people. Taylor, for you asking, I'm going to put this up on the screen real shortly. And then this is the C64 emulator. So let's present this for 1 second. That the Eliza version from the Commodore 64. So let's do that. And now we can look like nerds. Yay. Oh, we're back to downloading game metadata. But it can't be more than it can't be. This is ridiculous. This is a tiny little program. And I really feel like Bojan has one about the calendar. Was this recent? Because I think I reviewed the one about the calendar already. Let me see here. Let's hey, let's search the internet. What's your thought on Jonathan's symbolic world content? Is it orthodox? It's semi, it's like the problem is that Jonathan Majot is an iconographer. He understands the symbolism in the icons well, but when he starts going full like dark side of semiotics and stuff, I tend to get kind of nervous about it. Let's just see if we can load that up while we wait for this thing to load, which maybe never. And we'll go over to YouTube and let's take a look at what we are searching for today.
Yeah, Jonathan just seems sort of like overly scholastic sometimes.
All right, so we're going to share this tab instead. We're going to look around. I've typed in Orthodox. Why don't Orthodox Christians preach on the streets? Oh, I got my own suspicions on that one. Should frustrated Catholics leave Catholicism for Orthodoxy from roots of Orthodoxy? Wait a second. So is this guy? This is the Union guy, right, or the Catholic guy that was pretending to be Orthodox for so long? This is what you call controlled opposition, folks. As you see, should frustrated Catholics leave Catholicism for Orthodoxy? Well, the answer is yes, but he's going to have someone who will definitely say probably not. Okay, there's Vespers there, but that was 2 hours ago. Let me see here. Why Orthodox Christianity? Some Orthodox martyrs. This guy, I don't know who he is, but he claims to be an archbishop of Orthodoxy. I can't see what church he's part of. This is some AI stuff. Very touch Orthodox Tewahedo Mezmur. Tristan Tate on his conversion. I don't know that he really did convert. A warning to Orthodox on Instagram. Well, the heavenly reward for an Orthodox Christian. Why I left Eastern Orthodoxy. Well, why did he leave Eastern? Where is he now? Who is this guy? Maybe we'll find out. This is, he's an Anglican. Okay. He probably never really, never deeply converted. I don't know. Maybe I'm judging.
I've watched that video before.
How bad is it?
It's basically just him saying, these other people have been, how can they be saved? And I've seen, all these other traditions, the grace of God working in them, so how can there only be one church? I think that's what his argument is. It's kind of.
Yeah. Let me see here. All right, so let's type in Bojan and see if we find something. Banter with Bojan or whatever his name is. Okay, so looking here, let's look at the latest because that's what was claimed. There's nothing here about the calendar. Like, okay, I don't know, man. Let me see here. When he follows Jordan Peterson's but all the time, again, it's a lot of it is kind of clout chasing. I hate to say that in this industry, it's increasingly so. It doesn't feel real. That compromise made an interesting face. John MC is Jonathan Pajot actually a baptized Orthodox? I don't know how he was received. I believe he's in the OCA. Thoughts of Father Moses? Is that the weightlifter one, Father Lift Pro? I don't really have any thoughts. I thought he made a cheesy video. It wasn't particularly awful. It had a couple of good, funny lines in it, and they overreacted. But I don't really think about that.
Has Orthodox Ethos put out anything lately?
Let me probably, and it's probably going to be something goofy. Who knows? Or the same stuff they're always saying. Let me see here. Okay. Oh, look at that. No, this is featured. Let's go to videos. Fasting. The most important thing is obedience. The weight of loneliness. Can we be saved outside Orthodoxy? No, we can't. Can I be Orthodox and have hope for universal salvation? Like, I mean, do any of these topics sound good to you guys that you want to really have me review?
I'll let the audience decide, really.
Yeah. Let's continue here. Let me see here. Yeah, Sunrise. I can't find one about the calendar on Bojan there. Let me see here. I assume he communed in our church. Yeah, he probably did. I wonder why a lot of World Orthodox don't do street apologetics and stuff. I think personally a part of it is that they're afraid to do so. They don't really know how to approach it. Sunrise was a month ago. Okay, let me go back and see if it was a month ago. Okay, 9 days. This guy posts a lot. Dusty icon. Leaves since we're quitting my day job. Destruction of a satanic statue. Dangers of hyper-focusing. The church won't get better. Thoughts on the old calendar. Another one of these? All right. How long is this?
Here we go.
Okay. And I'm going to put them at 1.5 because I get bored by these. Let's see.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Orthodox with Boyan. And to everyone who's celebrating Christmas today, Merry Christmas, Christ is born, glorify Him. My church celebrates Christmas on the Old Julian calendar, and the 25th December of Old Julian calendar is on January the 7th of the Gregorian calendar. So I will celebrate Christmas in less than 2 weeks. So, but anyway, may the Lord bless you abundantly on this day when we celebrate, when most of you celebrate His nativity, that even in this...
Okay, someone asks, is Bojan lukewarm? Never heard his stuff. Bojan is the definition of lukewarm. Like he is very zealously lukewarm. He's very strongly opinionated on not feeling much, which is that's his whole shtick.
Peace, but there is no peace.
Yep.
Darkness and this whirlwind of evil that constantly engulfs this world. One little baby born in some off cave somewhere defeats that very world. This got me thinking about the very usage of the old calendar in quite a lot of Orthodox churches like Serbian, I think Georgian, definitely Russian, and so on. And I simply wanted to share some of my thoughts on this issue, because I don't think that when discussing the calendar in the Orthodox Church, it tends to be framed in the sense of, ecumenism. It tends to be framed of Pope made it, therefore bad. The fathers left us the old Julian calendar, and so on and so forth. And quite honestly, I feel that a lot of these are very bad arguments. And I might as well simply go.
Wait, what was the bad argument?
When discussing the calendar in the Orthodox Church, it tends to be framed in the sense of, ecumenism. It tends to be framed of Pope made it, therefore bad. The fathers left us the old Julian calendar, and so on and so forth. And
wait.
Quite honestly, I feel that a lot of these are very bad arguments.
Oh, that's too bad. I think they're really good arguments. I think a lot of people think they're really good arguments, which is why dismissing them is kind of stupid. The arguments he gave were ecumenism, that the Pope made the calendar, which makes it bad, and that the fathers left us the calendar. Those are all really valid arguments. Like,
absolutely.
I don't know why he must have his own aesthetically better argument or some straw man. Let's see.
And I might as well simply go, through a lot of them. For example, it's ecumenism. I mean, it could be seen as that, but I think that is less of an issue. I think that personally, we have much a bigger problem that we have two calendars in our own church. But I'll turn to that later on. Pope made it, therefore it's bad. Well, a pagan emperor made the old one, and it's not like it was
Paisios argument classic.
Yep.
The very fact.
That's exactly what these are, like all old arguments, and he's presenting them like these are all old counters, and he's presenting them like they're like genius counters. They're not. The saints used that calendar, and so it's just foolish. But in any case, we'll continue.
That it lags behind a more precise calendar indicates that's the second thing. And the third thing is the fathers left us this calendar. They didn't leave us that calendar. The calendar was simply there. The Christians used the most widely used calendar, and because they were that
it was the legal calendar. It wasn't just the most widely used. Fronema from Debt to Compromise. How many of these channels were getting USAID money, I wonder? Enslaved by Truth. Very interesting question. Taylor Harden says, no, I've had enough of years. Mineya 24, I came in late, so I'm not sure if you went over it, but what about your thoughts on the discussion Elaziasi had with the ecumenist from Mineya 24? All my thoughts are encapsulated in the final minutes when I showed up into the comment section, and before then I had nothing to say because Elijah was debating somebody who refers to himself as an open Orthodox ecumenist. He's under the ecumenical patriarchate. For all intents and purposes, he's a union. Or Kremlin money says, Debt to Compromise. Very true. Kremlin, USAID, same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Reconquista says, dork, LOL. Bojan is hard to listen to at 1.5. He seems like a dork with a crappy opinion. And at 1.0, here's who? He was so 2024. Sunrise said they literally admitted it was for ecumenism. His Bible Illustrated channel is better than his Ortho Banter channel. I thought they were the same channel. John MC says, thanks. I'll do not listen to pretty much video at all. He's a good iconographer. Yeah. He should read the 1920 encyclical. Maybe he did. Who knows? Is warfare from W Orthodox? I think he's asking, are you Western Right Orthodox unseen?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Slavery to the dating system of the new calendar came in from an Eastern scholar, though, didn't it? No, it's just a mathematical calculation that allows you to say it's different, but to get the same exact results for hundreds of years. So, no. Let's continue this.
Uniting force, of course, that one calendar sort of ruled out all others. And like 16 years later, another calendar was made. However, I think that there is an aspect of the calendar issue that people who promote the old calendar generally don't mention, which I find kind of silly when you boil it down to.
What's that?
It comes to this. What is a year? Does a year indicate the rotation of planet Earth around the sun? Or does the year indicate 365 days? Which of these two? And if your pro-rotation model, that rotation of Earth around the sun, one singular rotation, is a year, then you should be in favor of a more precise calendar. I don't want to say Gregorian calendar because Serbian scientists Milankovic made an even more precise calendar than the Gregorian one. So I will use that as a reference point, which was the calendar that was actually adopted by the churches that
It's
currently
not
use the
about
so-called new
being,
calendar, but that's not the Gregorian calendar.
astronomically correct.
Well, yeah, but what he's trying to emphasize that it's not the papal calendar, even though it is the papal calendar. It's kind of boring, but he's now made it like we see what the general gist of this argument is. Okay, we don't care about what the father said, so on and so forth. What matters is the science, and this is not a very good argument.
If you think that a
Logic
year
and
is
reason.
defined by a period of 365 days, then you should be in favor of the old calendar. Now, this may sound weird because you might say, well, these are synonyms because it takes the Earth 365 days to go around the sun. But they're not. They're nearly identical, but they're not because the Earth's rotation. Of course, it does not align perfectly with the Earth's
Hold
rotation
on.
around the sun.
People are starting to specify. Reconquistador says when you forward his voice, he sounds really gay. Huh. That's interesting. I didn't think it had anything to do with the speed. The science calendar. DTC says probably asking if Unseen is from World Orthodox. Lamont, did Warfare convert from World Orthodoxy? Okay, so it's all about you. By the way, Unseen Warfare has a channel as well. So does Father Boniface. So if you are interested in their comments and contributions, remember they are on YouTube.
To answer your question, no. The first experience I had was a true Orthodox church. With Orthodoxy, I found a little GOCK parish out in Virginia, and that was my very first time I walked into an Orthodox church. So no, I did not come from World Orthodoxy.
Memento Mori says, Father, don't be a science denier. Never said that.
Does not align with Earth's own rotation perfectly. And of course that in the end, the year is not exactly 365 days. It's, a little bit longer than that. And over time that adds up, and then we have to have leap years in order to align the number of days with the rotation around the sun. And I think, I apologize, I think this is the major problem with the old calendar, because it has leap days. It knows that the calculation is set off. However, it's recalibrating is off. I mean, it's still better than not having it at all, but it's still off. What I'm trying to say is this: for all of the proponents of the old calendar, is there some magical, mystical number to having, 365 days in a year? Because the way we celebrate a lot of feasts today does not simply align to reality. For example, if Saint George here, here, if he died on May the 6th, or we have approximate knowledge of his martyrdom, and we celebrate his feast day then. So he died if we look at the rotation as this, plate, if he died in this segment, but we celebrate it sort of here, then we are not really, honoring his anniversary. We are honoring something approximately close and ever so far, getting ever so further away from his actual anniversary.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is ridiculous. God isn't a miser. Where he's not, this modern view of everything has to be super correct. This is super correctness here. Really, that's his argument. It's ridiculous. Stupid.
Okay. Let me see here. Give me one moment, please.
I think some of these guys set their own definitions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do, because this is the age of everyone can get on YouTube and have their own opinion. And so if they disagree with yours, and they'll figure out an argument, and they'll redefine words as the conversation goes, which is very interesting.
Indeed. All right, so I'm going to start this again.
Again, because the rolling calendar, I think it has too few leap years, so it lags behind. That is why I'm celebrating Christmas in like 2 weeks. In fact, I know a lot of Orthodox were like, yeah, I'm celebrating them because the church celebrates them, but I know that Christmas is today. I'm not of the opinion that, again, I have my own view of things, because I'm like, the church here in this space at this time says that I should celebrate Christmas on January the 7th according to the secular calendar, and they will, because I personally don't particularly care in the sense because...
Okay, someone else commented, Reader John, I think, about him sounding light in the loafers at 1.5. I think he sounds almost exactly the same. Here you go, guys.
Because the Lord won't abandon us. How we look at the stars and the moons and the new moons and festival, the Lord doesn't really, get so hung about it, which is what Saint Paul says in his epistles. However, if we,
What?
think that the
What coming on?
He said something about Saint Paul. I don't understand where he's saying that Saint Paul isn't hung up about what has been instituted by the church on what date we should they've erased
Well,
an
what St.
entire
Paul was
fast.
talking about was following the seasons, like the like for growing and things like that, and the way that the pagans did, and to not see things that way. It's completely out of context. Let me see here for some comments. Father, don't be a science denier. Sunrise LOL. John MC says 365 days and a quarter day. No calendar can be totally accurate. Reader John says, not here to judge, but he does sound light in the loafers at a higher speed. I've now slowed him down. Is this not scrupulosity, says Enslaved by Truth. Memento Mori says, you must submit to the science of the new calendar. Ma lukewarm trad elder gave a argument for why we shouldn't care too much about the calendar. Fair enough. Evangelos, interesting to see Metropolitan Demetrius talking about Western Saints recently. I believe he put up something today, even. But also care about honoring the new calendar. John MC at Nicaea 8325 was known there was a calendric discrepancy. It was decided to leave correction to the state. Main purpose was to regularize date of celebration of Pascha. Yes. Scientific accuracy did not seem to be a concern until the 20th century, though. Yeah, I mean, it's because they had the science pretty well settled. All right, let's put this back on.
The church is a living, breathing body of Christ. That it's.
I like how the subheading here is "Get on with the times."
Ever new and not a museum for dead languages, for obsolete calendars and everything. Then we simply need to get on with the times. And none of this, again, when I say get on with the times, none of this falls within like the dogmatic teaching.
The church is not supposed to go with the world.
Yeah, I know. I know.
There are parts of the, there are parts of the. Where was I going with this? There are, of course, things from the old calendar, where we still need to, uphold, and these include the dating of Pascha. And yes, there is a major issue of Apostles' Fast
to 125
practically disappearing.
Maybe it won't be
on
so
the
bad.
New calendar. However, you also need to remember that this fast isn't a fast that was like there from day one. Actually, I don't think that any of them were including Lent. The Lent was basically Christians joining in with the catechumens as they were preparing for baptism. Essentially, Lent is a huge like renewal of your baptismal vows, if you want to look at it this way. And of course, because death and resurrection of Christ plays a huge role in actual baptism, there you have it. I think, there was something I wanted to mention later on, and of course I forgot it. This is why I should have notes. But the thing is, I don't think that the calendar is a major thing. I think that the newer calendars more adequately reflect what the concept of anniversary is. I don't think that there is anything remotely magical in the number of 365 on its own.
Yeah.
The whole reason we have that number is because that was the best approach.
All right. Comments. Sunrise says, we do not change the boundaries marked out by our fathers. We keep the tradition we have received. If we begin to lay down the law of the church in even the smallest things, the whole edifice will fall to the ground in no short time. Absolutely true. Memento Mori says, listening to Bojan seems like he's arguing for some sort of ortho-aesthetic Protestantism. Just follow what feels right. Very true. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. So support us by subscribing or donating at NFT.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero, or on Give, Send, Go. I do want to take a moment to mention this, but yeah, our donations have gone down substantially. I think last week I mentioned the giant car bill. So I'm trying to get everything covered. And so far, we haven't been too successful. So I'm really grateful for all the help that you can give, all the help that you guys do give. I'd really appreciate that help if you could. As always, you're remembered in prayer at the in the chapel. And so, God willing, you if you could, if you want to help out, I'd really appreciate it. Father, debate Bojangles. Who's Bojangles? I don't know who that is.
Approximate length of a year, like some 2,000 years ago. We are much more precise now, and we should.
Rick Lankisa says, how much was the bill? It was $795. And so we were not expecting that. But in any case, let me continue.
Wouldn't fear whatsoever in changing that. However, much more importantly, we should listen to the church. I have a Greek church here. I won't go there to celebrate my own little portion of Christmas, because that's not the Christmas of the church I'm a member of. I'm a member of the Serbian Orthodox Church in Serbia, so I will celebrate.
Thank you to JIC. You know who you are on Cash App. I am adding that into the marquee. That's what it is.
Does this disturb you, like, spiritually a little bit? Like, I'm a little disturbed from him.
What?
Just the lukewarmness of it.
I may be, but I mean, to me, it doesn't affect me at all, because I always find, I mean, I don't, frankly, he's amusing to, even listen to. I don't take him seriously. And somewhere I think that, he became known on YouTube for doing little funny cartoons. And so his concepts, his theological concepts, etc., are dumb. They're like really dumb.
Everything I've ever seen of this guy, and I've only seen.
I did get more help. Hold on one moment. Hold on. Sunrise, thank you again for supporting the channel and helping out. Really appreciate that. So this is really good. Thank you very much. Debt to Compromise says, I remember when they all said Brother Nathaniel was a base fool for Christ, and I think he's still there, but Rokor MP. But yeah, they were. We know they were kind of dumb. Let me see here. And then Memento Mori says, I don't know. I wonder if he even knows or cares about the recent allowance of monoposites celebrating in Serbian churches by their bishop. I guess he probably thinks it's a good thing. Or the pirate says his concepts are not dumb, they're childish. Okay, that's fair. Very true. So let me get back to the banner, because I need to do a quick update. Really appreciate that. So Sunrise, we're going to put that there. Okay. And we're going to update that. So I should probably put a total, but in any case, yeah. So we are updating that. We have so we thank you so much for your kindness. We really appreciate that. Let me see here. Remember when Lamont 09 says he's been struggling with his church leadership lately in a new video. Okay. I mean, but what good is the struggle if it's not about the faith? So in any case, let's get back to this. And I think this is, I mean, unless you guys have another video in mind you want to watch, because this one, this one's feeling kind of
the Christmas when the church says here. I don't think that's a reason enough to get into a schism, whether it's because a new better calendar was adopted, or my own little personal schism because I think that the old calendar is obsolete, so I'll go to some embassy of the Greek church to celebrate, again, my own little personal Christmas,
What the heck is he talking about? There's no embassies to go to. Neurojack says hello. Let me see here. Just a question. Can the priest in Western Rite, after they got their priesthood, clarify that a little? I know that there's some meaning. I feel like I'm not sure what you're trying to ask here, Zolotis. Can they celebrate in the Western Rite? I mean, in theory, you can celebrate in whatever your bishop allows you to. So that's always the case. So there's nothing stopping, say, someone from, say, using our books in another true Orthodox jurisdiction if they wanted to. There really isn't. It's just that a lot of them have been taught that our books are basically filled with Roman Catholic nonsense. All right. On his new video about his leadership, I respect him. He called out his priest on his new video about his leadership. I'm not I know this is going to be kind of hard for people who, especially who are in World Orthodoxy, to believe. Respectfully, Zalota, they can get married after their priesthood. No, they cannot. It's once you've been made a priest, that's it. So yeah, no getting married again. That has to be done before you're a deacon. That rule's the same throughout the world. But in any case, when he's talking about embassy churches and going into a schism, well, we didn't go into a schism. They went into a schism because we didn't change the calendar. They did. Let me see here. Yeah. Let's continue on.
That's one thing. That's the second. And the third thing I wanted to mention, I think you guys know that I'm no fan of old calendarists, of zealots. And by the way,
okay, well, at least you're honest.
Again, this is something I mention always. In English, old calendarist means a person on the old calendar. So technically, I'm an old calendarist. However, in Serbian, old calendarist means a sect of zealots who've broken away from the canonical church. And
they're also not called old calendarists there. They're called the True Orthodox Serbian Church.
A really strong missionary work among the Serbian Orthodox here in Serbia and elsewhere. So when I personally say the term old calendarist, I mean I honestly mean the
True Orthodox,
the zealots who are in
True Orthodox. You don't want to use the term.
The way they
want to make it look like the problem with all these
from the church.
They want to make it look like they're all in schism from the church. They're all divided. But we all know we're all True Orthodox. So everyone refers to it that way. So.
It's nothing short of evil. Those persecutions
wait, what?
I mean the zealots who are in schism with the canonical church. The way they were treated is nothing short of evil.
Oh, okay, yeah, we agree with that. I thought you said that. I thought he said that we were nothing short of evil, but he's saying how we were treated was nothing short of evil, which it's true.
Well, those persecutions were simply despicable, disgusting. However, and I think it reflects a lot of what happens to the old believers in Russia.
No, here we go again. It's like it's the same old every time. It's so frustrating,
bro.
It's always it's an old believer. Shut up! That's not what an old believer is. Stop it.
The old believer, again,
the old believer is like the Amish of the East.
Ones who stood for the older tradition that they received, So if the old calendarists,
they stood up for things that were incorrect in the traditional books as they've been passed down, and they freaked out over it.
Zealots think that this new calendar is so horrible.
Okay, Alison Bernier asks, good evening, please advise. I'm an inquirer. Husband attends a local Baptist church. Is it better for us to visit a local World Orthodox church or drive 300 plus miles to a True Orthodox church? If you don't have church handy, it's better to say Typica. But to me, it's always more advisable to go to a True Orthodox church if you can. There are over 100 and something churches in the country. I would advise to try to find something more. Okay, wow, thank you again. Somebody just donated via Cash App, so thank you. Give me one moment as I try to change this. Hold on. And these are okay. Let me see here. Okay, I needed to add these. There were two more. Oh boy, this is spend a lot of time on these. I really need to get like a dono bar or something because this is kind of complicated when you have to type it in. Okay, so we're gonna edit this. and edit this. Okay, there we go. All right, so now it's things are going crazy. Oh, and no problem. Glad I could help, Allison. So I will add, and thank you for supporting the channel and putting that, asking questions. Always welcome. And so I will add that too.
Could I say something about that? I mean, and I'm not a priest, and I want to, put that out there. But, I would just put it this way: like when we try to like post things like, should we go to a local World Orthodox church or 300 miles to a true Orthodox church? That's almost, it feels like maybe, this could be like a stumbling block for some people. But I think the way that we look at it is it'd be like asking us, should we go to, an Arian church instead of just a regular Orthodox church? Because that's basically what they are right now. They're just, they're ecumenists. They're not Orthodox, truly, that's the way I view it. But maybe I'm stepping out of place.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not so much stepping out of place. It's a legitimate concern. But one thing to remember is that that's a very real question for a lot of people. What's it called? A person asking that, 300 miles is 300 miles. If you have a family, etc., these are real considerations.
Yeah,
but this
definitely.
is part of the reason why I made such a big deal about this. Get yourself a copy of the Swiss Army knife, as I call it, Divine Prayers and Services, so that you can do services even at home if you have to. So thank you for that question, and we are glad to get it. Let me go here and let's continue on. Let's see if we can finish this one up.
Then why do they actually support old believers and the saints who persecuted them and who are saints in their zealot calendars? I mean, there is some, and I understand that change, especially in Orthodoxy, is very suspect. However, persecuting them, even if they had their bad takes, was, again, nothing short of evil. However, it raises a huge question of, okay, let me put it this way. To whom does a church building belong to? Let's say that you have a bishop whose entire diocese goes into schism over Arianism, over the old calendar, over old believers, and so on.
Happened.
Do those church buildings belong to that bishop, the clergy, the faithful, or do they belong to the church at large? And if you want to say to the church at large, then you have a major problem of how to remove those people who call those very churches home for like forever.
Yep.
Those are very complex issues. I do not pretend to know how to answer them. This is the entire issue with the Esphigmenou monastery on Mount Athos, because they oppose the current structure of the ecumenical patriarchate and the other monks and monastic community. But do you simply kick them out, remove them? And there were attempts to kick them out
for about 40 years now, man.
Didn't end well at all, and it really does make the ruling structure look particularly bad. Again, I don't know. I'm just sharing my thoughts. So my thought for you, my question for you is, when deciding which calendar is better, is a year the rotation of Earth around the sun, or is it 365 days? That's my question. And one final thing I want to share with you is, I do think that we should have a unified calendar. There is all this talk about having a common Easter dating as the Catholics, not necessarily the ones that Catholics use, but some other new model. To be quite honest, I don't particularly care about that. But the very fact that we have two calendars in the church is silly and stupid, honestly. And I think
that's why we don't have that
first
problem. We just have one calendar. How much longer? A minute and a half. Okay.
To clean our home first, we need to have a unified calendar. And I'm much more pro having a unified calendar than having a correct one. So if the church in general wants to switch to the new calendar, old Julian calendar, that is fine by me, because it's better than the situation that we have today. Sadly, the Council of Crete wanted to make some improvements there, but we all know how, well, I hope all of us know how that transpired. They essentially didn't do anything, and from what I could ascertain, it was an attempt by the ecumenical patriarchate to establish itself as this unifying force, which is all nice and dandy, but There are many other factors that want to present themselves as their unifying agents.
Not 2, but 3 calendars.
Which is no sort of thing ever, like getting this total
disunity,
but
good
still
evening.
unified. So yeah, that's it for me for today. Merry Christmas and Christ is born to all of you who celebrate today.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, that was like a mental drain. Right. I live literally in the middle of nowhere. Even with a car, it would be a major podwig. I make do with a Typica. I miss church greatly. We do when we can. Yeah. It's complete. That's a normal thing. It's part of Orthodox living. You know, sometimes your icon corner is all you have. So definitely.
I think that with the idea of setting up like mission stations, kind of what you're hitting at now, but also establishing readers so that they can actually, have a Mississika, or isn't that, you can elaborate more on that than I can, but to have readers established, so that's like the first step in church development.
Yep. It absolutely is, Father, and I think that is something that we need to do more of. We need more of that. Sunrise, don't worry about it. It is my job to answer questions and watch videos on this evening Sunday. It's what I'm here for, to kind of be there for everyone. But yeah, that was just not fun because it was just Boyan's videos sometimes can drag on somewhat. That one was marginally interesting. Let me see here. I'm gonna step out for it's 2025 and World Orthodox still use the same arguments. I'm gonna step out for just a second. I don't know if you guys wanted to stick around here and if you want to answer questions or the chat.
I could just
hold on. Here's Lydia Lazar. Master Bless.
May the Lord bless. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Lydia. For those who don't know, it's Lydia Lazar of Niagara in Canada. Okay, something's causing some fuzzy. Okay, I'll be right back.
Latika, how's the weather in Canada?
Very Canadian. Lots of blizzards. Lots of snow.
Right. Is there an echo? We're getting an echo.
On my end?
Yeah.
There should not be. Okay.
All right.
Am I echoing?
Yeah, I think so. But
I think you are.
Okay, how about now?
Keep talking.
Yeah, well,
now, we're still getting an echo.
I see. Well, all right. Nothing's on my the computer. The desktop is off. So
I hear you now. I'm getting an echo. I don't know if it's me.
I don't know. I hear you. There's a lot of background. No, what is it? It sounds like you're underwater, Father Boniface.
Yeah. It wasn't this way before. I don't know what happened.
I hear a lot of clicking on your end whenever you speak.
Yeah. Well, when Father Joseph comes back, I'll turn off and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I came back just for this. Father Boniface, can you mute yourself for just a second?
Yep.
Okay, so let me. All right. Yeah, there's still some kind of static. What kind of speaker system do you have set up there? Budika?
Oh no, I'm just on my cell phone. There's no speaker system.
Oh. Okay, that may be part of why. Let me see here. Good evening, Father Methodius. Just got to work in attitude at the post of the Baptist last night. Interviewed a young man from the Moscow Patriarchate this morning. Wants to join us. Nice. Status of Father Boniface speaks. Yeah, I don't think it's you guys, Father. I don't know.
Okay, I will leave. I will leave and come back in. Okay.
Okay, let's see if that works. Okay. All right, guys, turn your mics back on and let's see if they're working normally.
Yep.
I'm back
Okay.
on.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. It must be something with his setup because it started when he came in. So, but it could
Yeah.
be a cell phone issue. Yeah, it's let's see. Yeah, there's no issues now. I think Bishop Lazar has had occasional tech issues with his setup. So hopefully, God willing, that can be resolved. But in any case,
Ah,
I'll step out for a moment, like I was planning to, and just I have to take care of one thing.
all right. Well, I was wondering if anybody listening was, like I said, to set up mission stations or to get people established to be readers is a process, and so then that would enable the formation of missions, churches, monasteries, convents, whatever. But it's church development. But we're at in certain respects, this is a missionary outreach effort, and at a grassroots level to build the church as people are expressing interest all over. Of course, the internet is really facilitating this. And so I just want anybody to keep these things in mind. If they're interested, inform us. And, this is what we want to do. That's my whole, motivation is to see things build up.
Yeah, I was reading something from Saint Nectarius, and he was saying, that when they had when they introduced the calendar, don't go to those churches, and that two men asked him, said, well, what do we do if everybody goes along with it? He says, well, then your homes will become churches, and just as many times in the history of the church. So and I would say this too, as far as I know, people would sometimes travel thousands of miles to get to a church on like horseback or something, throughout the century. So we're I think we're in the in the big picture, we're in some blessed times as far as that goes. But it is it is difficult, but I think maybe the Lord puts us through
Uh,
that to test our faith, maybe.
I agree. I guess, to handle being isolated, but also helps you to learn actually the fellowship of the saints, that you're not alone, that you have the saints with you. And so to cultivate that friendship with the saints, and I'm working on that myself. But and then to focus on your study, your liturgy, your worship, um, and to practice detachment. Um, being isolated, and that is in your thoughts and your worship. Maybe not so much off in some countryside, but even in the middle of the city, to be detached from the world and to practice that and to grow in discernment. Because detachment helps one to grow in discernment, to grow in their catharsis, in their cleansing, and then to develop into illumination, and then later on theosis, and so that's the goal that we're working on, and so anyone with, again, get in touch or share these things, pray about, especially pray about it. Because this is this is the joy of it all, because the internet is facilitating the fact that we can keep our heads above water, because we get to share on Sunday nights and at other times, and communicate with one another even at a distance. So that's a blessing.
Definitely has been for me. And this point kind of came into my head when you were talking, is like, I remember reading something, and there was a priest, and he was despairing that there was not a lot of people coming to his church. There was maybe like 10 people that would show up, maybe less, right? And I think he spoke to another, maybe it was like a monk or another father, and he explained to him that even in those times, the church is actually full of all the saints and all the angels.
Yep.
So we can't always depend on the way things appear. I guess that's what I took from that little story.
Definitely. Definitely. That's what Father Joseph has told me. I've got the saints with me.
Yeah, that's we're never alone, truly. And this is something that people have to remember when they feel alone, especially when dealing, in situations where there's, World Orthodox, but they're the only ones standing up for the truth. The saints are standing with you, and so you're never truly alone in Orthodoxy, ever. But it's especially true at the liturgy when you're doing the service. The saints are there with you, chanting along. Okay, we're done. Yes. Let me see here. Someone said Christ is risen. Says, what would your advice be for true Orthodox inquirers? My advice would be get in contact with a priest. That is the most important thing you can do. Preferably a priest who's in some way accessible to you, whether by language or distance. But get in touch with a priest. And so that is what we can do. Let me see here. Oh boy, that's a complicated one, and I hate answering this question. Hello, Father. I'm in the Philippines. Is there a true Orthodox church in Mindanao? Yes, there are, I believe, 5 of them, if I remember correctly. They were originally parishes of our synod, and I will not get into all the details. I have some strong opinions on them, but they are in the Rocor Agafango. So yeah, there's about probably I think it's something like the number's gone down a bit, but I think it's something like 900 people in the Mindanao area who are true Orthodox. So yeah, yeah, that you could if you go to hold on. synod.roostchurchabroad.org, I believe it is. Hold on. You can get in touch with them if you are in Mindanao and you need to. We have a reader there still, but that's, I don't know what's happening with that. I haven't heard much. Actually, Vladika Lazar would know more, and if we could get his audio working. .org. I saw the article you made on the website, and they were Western. They were received as Western Rite, but having come from the Moscow Patriarchate, they were using Russian tones. As I understand it now, under the Rokorogafongal, they are back on the Russian usage. They were actually back on the Russian usage before they left us, but that's what I've got there. So I hope that helps. And so let me see here. Gregory of Colorado is the closest. Gregory of Colorado does not count for anything. I really wish you would. I feel bad because it seems like there's a few good people in the Colorado area. And, are they canonical and should I speak with them? Yes, you can. I feel that kind of what happened between my synod and theirs was uncanonical, but I can't say that they're not canonically configured. I can just say that was you can reach out to them if you go to that website, you should find the Philippines addresses. So Gregory, Colorado, I can't say this enough. It's just the entire true Orthodox world has, he rejects all of them. So it's crazy. Let me see here. So yeah. Other than that, plus if you're in Mindanao, that's the closest those are the closest churches you would have. And they are true Orthodox, so just stay away from the Moscow Patriarchate there. Let's see here. What else have we got here? Okay, I don't see much else going on here. Give me a moment. No. I do not have. I have a Discord. I try not to use. There are other ways to reach me. I avoid Discord intentionally. I think there are a lot of very unhappy people. You can always reach out to me at the Afrosinos Cafe at afrosinoscafe.com. So that's if you want, you can. If you're trying to reach me, that's one of the easiest ways to do it is to just go to afrosinoscafe.com and just sign up and reach out reach out to me for a private message. Let me think here. Or the pirate says, perhaps all of us getting on it and casting a wide net by asking if there are others in our surrounding communities interested, especially maybe other true Orthodox that have left their World Orthodox parishes and Orthodoxy, perhaps just meeting up. Just thought, exactly, we need to do more of this. For every one person that is on right now, I'm pretty much guaranteeing there's another 10 that will be watching later, and that ultimately a lot of you are closer than you think. I think Father Boniface has seen that in Florida, where just a lot of the people who comment here, even it turns out that they live not far from him at all. And that's true. I think of all of us to some degree. We're all closer to someone than we realize. I've noticed that the tricky part is the Midwest. But yeah, that's outside of that, we're gonna have to work on it.
I mean, some of us are taking flights to get to, places too, and, going pretty far ways to meet up with other people. And, I think that a lot of the times we might look at it like, it could be a hassle, but I look at it like it's an adventure most of the time. Whenever I've kind of stepped out, and did those type of things, there's a lot of, it's kind of fun, you know what I mean? Just jumping out on faith and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, John MC says, I sat in once on an Orthodox quote unquote Discord for 5 minutes. Discord is aptly named. Yeah, it's a kind of a messy thing, so I don't recommend it. And if you're trying to reach me, that's not a good way to do it. But in any case, so let's see here. We are now in the 8th minute of the 3rd hour. And how long are we going to be going today? Well, I'll tell you. We are going to be going today, hopefully, as long as that ridiculous game is going on. That's how long we're going to try for, guys. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. Oh, I bumped my head, and I don't remember. It might have been the car or something, but I bumped it really hard. So if you notice, I'm just constantly holding my head like this. It's because there's a bump right here. It's been bugging me all day. I think you can kind of see it when I go like that. Anyway. These are things that we need to consider. How to reach out to other true Orthodox between synods, through synods. Let me see here. Father Lake Mary Parish doesn't show on GOC website. Lake Mary.
Is that Florida?
No idea. Maybe
there's a Lake Mary in Florida.
But is there a Lake Mary Orthodox Church?
There might be.
Let me check.
If that's the one. There's one in Clearwater, but there's one north of Orlando.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, it might. No. Never even heard of this one. Which one's this?
I think Eric had mentioned it. It's about an hour and 15 from him north. He lives around Sanford or something. So,
could you ask him which who's the bishop? What bishop is in charge of it? Because I've never heard of it. That's one thing that we do have to talk about as we talk about our general recovery. Okay, Sunrise. He's like, I'm at the Super Bowl with my NFT shirt on. No, you're not. We never made a shirt. Don't even try it. He's a sports baller. In any case, so yeah, one thing that I've discovered, and oh wow, Machiko Stephanie with $20. Thank you. I drive 4.5 hours twice a year to attend liturgy on Christmas and Pascha at the Abbey of the Holy Name. That is, yeah, and Machiko Stephanie, that's a blessed work. So glory to God, and thank you for keeping the lights on the channel. I'm going to add that. Hold on one moment.
I would encourage it. It almost sounds like a pilgrimage,
Yeah.
and it's like God blesses those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again. Now I've updated the banner.
Yeah, I'm just getting back from one of those trips, like staying at the Abbey for a week, and it was kind of like a long period before I had been at a church because I didn't have one around me, and just kind of doing typical, conversation with priests, what I can, and yeah, that whole experience, it definitely is good for the soul. It helps you for sure. I felt mentally clear while I was there and after I left. So.
Oh, glory to God! I'm glad that that was helpful. Sometimes taking a quick pilgrimage can make all the difference in the world. So yeah, definitely. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, I can't find anything on that. Let me just see here. Was Bishop Gregory ever a true Orthodox bishop? Any chance? He was, and he considers himself the only true Orthodox bishop on earth right now. But he was when he was in the ROAC, he was a true bishop. He managed to turn the synod against him. Machka 70 says you just do what you have to do to get the sacraments. Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And so that's a lot of people are afraid when it comes to that stuff. And I can understand why, but I also know that in reality, they don't have to be afraid. It's just a matter of just doing the work. So yeah, Reconquista, Reconquista, Father Boniface's church is in Lakeland. And the website for that Reconquista is stpaulhermitage.org, and I will put that on the screen.
.com.
.com. Okay, so I'll put that on there in a comment, so you can go there if you need to. So let me see here. Give me just a moment. Okay. Okay, perfect. So let me see here. And okay, so anyway, let's take a look. That is part of the GOC. That's not part of the GOC Clinicos. That's part of my synod, part of our synod. Let me see here. Do you think it's blasphemy that people do church role plays on stuff like Roblox? I mean, I don't think it's no more blasphemous than a little kid trying to dress up pretending to be the priest. So that's I don't think so. It depends on how they do it and if they add anything particularly gross or noxious. That's encouraging. Thank you. I hope that one day we'll be able to get our whole family, 6 children, baptized. If we have to travel more, then God go with us. Yeah, well, I've traveled to baptize large families before. So it's just a question of, I would say, if are you in the north or south? Father Reconquista asked Father Joseph, what's your synod? I'm in the autonomous metropolia of North and South America and the British Isles. That website is, hold on, I'm just throwing websites out there today. Hold on. So that's that website. So it's just, remember that GOC is not only a specific term, it's also an umbrella concept. And when I say that, I mean that there are multiple churches that use it. It's just to distinguish us from the world Orthodox. And the idea is once the tide is turned in favor of Orthodoxy, those people usually change their names or add something to their names as they begin to die out. So that is how history has always gone. But yeah, in any case, let me see here. Let's see. Okay, I don't see too many questions right now, but we're going to continue on. Let me take that off the screen there. And so once again, let's see here. If you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. So we will, we're here. Let me see here. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to drop off for just a second, guys.
Mhm.
Speaking of that memento mori, I did a reading from Archbishop of Urki. It was his article, "True Orthodoxy and False Orthodoxy," and he lays out the distinction pretty well in that little article. And the other one, I think it's called "Modernity in Light of the Word of God." And that's a little bit harder to find in English, but there is like a Russian website. I forget what it's called, but it does give a translation of it in English. Like you can just kind of translate it, and I'll give that to you. That whole book.
Simple Man in Tennessee. Where in Tennessee is he? East, west, or central?
I appreciate that, Memento. Nashville.
Nashville. That's excellent. Tell him, get in touch with me, because we have some developments in Tennessee, and so
And so the best way you could probably do that is go to that stpaulhermitage.com, correct?
sure, but it'll have my email. I'll put it. Yeah, yep. Yeah, this is interesting because we're just looking to make some inroads, and we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, Nashville. Like I said, we have a fellow in Smyrna. So so that's good. I want him to get in touch with me as soon as possible, and we'll see what happens. This is this is interesting. Maybe the Lord's doing something here, big time.
To answer your question, HC, the question is, sorry if this has been addressed many times, but are there true Orthodox monks on Mount Athos? And Father Joseph just put, the esugmenu.com. So yeah, there's the monks at Esugmenu who are true Orthodox, and there used to be some Rokor monks before the capitulation at the Prophet Elias Skeet. But I know that there is monks on Mount Athos who are true Orthodox in the thousands. So.
Yeah, we can make our own mission. Well, yeah, it just needs to, you have the direction of a priest. So get started and take it from there with and a lot of prayer, because myself, I need prayer even for my physical condition. I've been fighting, prostate issues, and God needs to strengthen me, and I just ask for all your prayers for healing for me as I, go through these waters. And I'm getting more information even today. I'll be making some phone calls tomorrow. So please just pray, because the devil is attacking. There's no question about it, and he's attacking everybody. So I'm in prayer for you all, and be in prayer for me and Father Joseph and the whole metropolia here, because that's what we need to do. And may the Lord lead and guide and really build the work up, because true orthodoxy is the answer. It's like Unseen Warfare was saying that he got some clarity of thinking and actually spiritual vision, and that's what I have found too in my journey into true orthodoxy is clarity. And you know what brings clarity? Truth.
Yeah.
And so truth gives you clarity and discernment, because I have been through years of cognitive dissonance. And I mean, even from the public school system, from kindergarten and first grade, you know what I mean? But it's just part of our culture. All the deception and lies and bad teaching and bad information and misinformation, and deliberately so. And so we're in a time where orthodoxy is cutting through the fog with the light of Christ, and that is so true. And anyone, you will see that the Lord will bless you with clarity and understanding, because it's true. And that's why I'm aghast at people who, I go out, Friday night to the public forum there, First Fridays here in Lakeland, and I was starting to question somebody, and this pastor of a church, and he didn't even want to have a conversation. He cut me off real quick. People don't want to, let's say, be corrected.
No.
They're
comfortable.
They're so intelligent, they're so smart, they think they know it all. There's pride, arrogance, and this unwillingness to be corrected. If I didn't want to be corrected, I wouldn't be anywhere. I wouldn't grow. As if I'm perfect, as if any man is perfect. I remember stories of the Desert Fathers. One father would go to another who maybe was an elder, and he would say, "Teacher, teach me something,"
Yeah.
And so it happens all the time, even with the Most Holy. Teach me, please. Give me some light. Give me some insight. Bless me through the Holy Spirit, And people just are not there. There's a real need to get out there and share the truth.
Absolutely. There's a quote from Father Seraphim Rose, or Saint Seraphim Rose, where he says that the psychological trials of the end times will be equal to those of the martyrs. And I think that's definitely the case, is like all the misinformation and false teachers and everything that's going on. It does get, it's rough. And, we got to stand up and say something and get the message out there.
Well, Jesus said, "You will be hated by all." And when you have truth, then truth naturally speaks to error, whether it's addressing it directly or not, because truth is positing the truth. And it falls on ears that necessarily don't want to hear it, and they get offended. And so it cuts through error, and people don't like that. And so you'll realize that you're not going to be liked by the other religions of the world, and the Protestants or Catholics, and the Roman Catholics, that is, when you present the truth. But then again, we die to ourselves, and we hope that when we share the truth, that people will listen and be converted, will repent, will come to Christ, come into the true church, and be blessed. It isn't, we're not being pharisaical. We're being loving and desiring people's coming into the fellowship of the true church to be blessed, not only now, for all eternity.
Absolutely. I think that is misinterpreted sometimes, that people seem to think that this false peace is love, and it's really not. Sometimes, love is stern and a little harsh sometimes. The truth is a little harsh. That doesn't mean that it isn't, for a good cause. I'd say, to tell somebody the truth and tell them that there is an error here and this is wrong.
Yeah.
John Baptist, when you look at it, when people came out to hear him, you know what he preached? He says, "What brought you out here, you brood of vipers?"
Right.
Make straight the ways of the Lord. He was okay. So was he being unloving? I think that the Protestants caricature John and make him be look like a saliva spitting nutcase or something when he's saying that kind of stuff. But how do you know the attitude that he had? Obviously he said it directly.
Well, he's obvious.
But
Saint John of the Baptist is obviously a saint of our church. He's usually depicted with wings, as because he was a messenger. Let me see here.
Right. But he's caricatured by the Protestants as like some wild-eyed nutcase, and it's not true. But he was speaking the truth in love. But he was cutting through the fog for sure.
Absolutely,
like how he talked
very true.
Like
he said the axe is laid at the root, and it's time to start growing some new branches and cut away the old deception and false religion and come to the true. And I'm showing the path as a forerunner to the Savior.
Yeah, he let Herod know what he was doing was wrong to his face. He didn't, mince words. Or like you take like a Saint Nicholas who smacked Arius. Like people would say, well, what kind of Christian would smack someone? Well, he did it because it was out of it was a holy smack. If anything, I know it sounds crazy to some people, but it was to correct him. So
yeah.
Well, it took a vision to get him reinstated.
Wow.
Hold on. Yeah, he would have definitely been called Zealot today for you. What does
there was a vision, an appearance of the synod to reinstate him?
Yeah, they imprisoned him over that, right? Like they put him in jail or something.
Well, they put him out. I didn't know all the fine details, but they put him out. But it took the vision to reinstate him.
Oh, that's something.
The Blessed Mother said, "Bring him back."
Yeah, apparently the red star in communism, since you were asking Sunrise, represents either the 5 fingers of the hands of the worker or the 5 continents that they wanted to take over. Yeah, there's I think there's actually quite a bit of interest in Tennessee, and I'm starting to realize that. My OCA priest says no one even knows if St. Nicholas slapped him or even hit him. Yeah, that's what a lot of seminary education will do to you. It just makes you doubt every single thing that is considered a holy tradition. St. Nicholas this is Chris Dabrowski, St. Nicholas being exonerated by the Theotokos is a very strong testimony for how the faith isn't some lifeless, weak theoretical thing. Yeah, exactly, like what a lot of people learn in those seminaries. Is the 5-pointed star an evil symbol organically, though? Originally, though? Well, yeah, I mean, it's been used in paganism as well. Welcome, Reader John.
It's like Rimfan or something, right? I don't know.
Now, God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, so let's see here. How's everything going for you? How are things going?
Oh, man, I forgot my moonshine.
Your moonshine? You brought your moonshine and nothing to share. Okay, I see how it is. Okay. Let me see here.
Huh. I thought it was, You could tack that on to an offering, Father Joseph.
Moonshine? I don't know about that.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I
Atomic
know.
Lead points out that the medieval West used the pentagram as a symbol for Christ's wounds. That is true.
I still owe him some more sorghum.
Sunrise said, I know Macy's has the red star in their bags and logo, I believe. Don't know when that started. Always got sus about Macy's, but Macy's is closing everywhere now, so see what happened. Reconquista says, Reader John, welcome back. You sound like you smoke cigs. Well, that's unfair.
I haven't smoked cigs in 15 years, but I do have a sore throat.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Let me see here. All right. I'm not seeing any hold on, I'm trying to get something else here going. And so again, it is our live Q&A show. So if you want to jump on the stream or make a comment, you just have to click a link in the top of the chat. John MC says, from the time of the French Revolution, the color red on a banner symbolized revolution or bloodshed. Sunrise says, I don't smoke, but I do enjoy a cold Dr. Pepper. Well, that a lot of people do.
Amen.
It's got to be super cold, though. There's nothing worse than a hot Dr. Pepper, man. It's like syrup.
Hey, I grew up in Texas where they didn't have a refrigerator, so you take what you can get.
Oh.
In the 50s, Taco Bell was drank warm.
Yeah.
Really?
Guinness is drank room temperature overseas, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm good on that.
Right.
Warm beer.
Mexican Coke is the best. All right, give me just a second.
Right up.
Back.
And he means to drink people.
So what are the ingredients in your moonshine?
That's a good question. The flavor is blackberry. It's 96 proof, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're making it from blackberries, or is it a corn or potato or whatever? Huh?
I bought it locally. I think it's from corn, maybe.
Oh yeah. Oh, you bought it. Oh, okay. I thought you were making some.
Oh no. Blind guys and stills don't go together. You gotta watch the temperature on them things.
Yeah, right.
I met Popcorn Sutton when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
North Carolina. Yeah, he had a little shop, and that guy was wild.
Oh yeah, many of those shiners are a different breed.
Okay, so let me see here. Looking, what's special about Mexican? Okay, BOA answered that it has sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. Yep. Reconquista answered. Anyone know if the Liberty, Tennessee parish has a priest? I am not sure. I would contact them.
Not currently, no. It's just the Matushka that's left, I think.
Yep. Isaac, you met Popcorn?
Yeah, Popcorn Sutton. I got taken to his little shop as a kid, and I think he sold my parents some moonshine, and my mom is allergic to it, so she got really sick.
Oh that. No!
Yeah, we're on staying in a cabin.
Well, it does make your liver kind of quiver.
Glass doesn't leach into the drink like plastic does. That's very true. Just very difficult. Does anyone in Europe use ice cubes? Win Cotton Sutton. Okay, I must have missed this, but who is Cotton Sutton?
Popcorn
Sutton.
He was like they call him the last moonshiner or something. He
the
lived
last
up in the mountains in North Carolina, and he had they did shows on him like on PBS and stuff.
Okay. Thank you for that donation, Reconquista. Soda made with real sugar is healthy. Very true. Yeah.
Outside the U.S., it's hard to find high fructose corn syrup baked sodas.
The high fructose corn syrup is loaded with GMOs. That's why it's so bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's banned in most countries.
That's because they're smart. If you had some of that stuff, if you had some high fructose spilled on the sidewalk, the ants would walk around it. Have you ever seen those videos where they walk around GMO food?
Oh, yeah. The ants don't eat it. It can't be good.
That's right.
Okay, checking here, seeing if there are any. Okay, there's new comments. Could you DM me? I'm in both TO servers, same name. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, Isaac is. I think that is. That's for you, Isaac. Let me see. Moonshine is made from corn bash. Helped my grandfather run a few batches when I was a teenager in high school. Southerner. Okay, good to know, John Wrinkle. Sunrise. Got to give the ants some moonshine.
When he was asking about ice cubes in Europe, I come to think of it, there's not a lot of places that give you ice cubes.
Really?
Yeah, they usually chill it in like some kind of refrigerator, but they don't usually give you ice in a lot of places I've been.
Oh, dang! I didn't know that.
Because there's a lot of places where you still have to like hack out your own ice. It's not like ice cube.
So I have a question. Who was fighting the moonshiners?
The prohibitionists, right? Usually.
Government, yeah.
No. The government. What branch?
Wouldn't that be the judicial branch?
No. I do believe it was the IRS. The tax collection. Why?
Yeah.
Weren't they given
because
like
the government was controlling the liquor industry because it is so lucrative.
Yeah.
So therefore they tax it, and those guys, the moonshiners, were evading the taxation system, and the government, the revenue service, was going after them because they were doing it illegally because they didn't have a chance to tax them. That's what that was all about.
Wasn't the president at the time also a teetotaler?
I can't make that chronology, but at least, but the issue is money. The issue is the taxes, let's say, in the alcohol distillery businesses here in next door over in Auburndale, the taxes on like barrel of alcohol are huge.
The most I remember about Prohibition is that movie I saw with Sean Connery in it. So it's been a while. I haven't studied that history in a while.
Well, that's where John F. Kennedy, or John Kennedy made his money, was bootlegging. That's how the Kennedy family made a fortune, was bootleg.
Yeah, Savas is better. The old calendar zealot one, we've already gone off on old calendar zealot. Brother Peter Diamond.
You know what's better than both of theirs?
Well, let me. Okay, yeah.
And that Lazaruru guy, whatever his name.
Yeah, I don't recommend going to O's calendar zealots thing.
Yeah.
I got one too, but it's very low key, Yeah. So
you can use though if you want to. I'm sure Marshall would. I'm sure that. What's the name of that server on Seed?
It's called True Orthodoxy.
Okay, yeah, you could always find that one. Let me see here.
Man. I'm allergic to Discord.
Same. Yeah, join unseen server. Yep. Okay. That's the easiest way to get in touch with us anyway. But just the other one's fine. Just avoid the
that crazy
OCZ one. Yeah, it's not too many heresies. Not worth it. Let me see here.
He has a fixation with the H-man.
Oh, yeah, and other things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, first off, I want to say thank you for the donations so far. Looks like we're just around $229. God willing, I still have to get the money for the repair. I've mentioned it's $795. God willing, we'll be able to reach that pretty close. Isaac says I sent you a friend request. Social credit dealer is my title. And Sunrise wants to join your server as well. Okay, let me just see here.
Anybody need to go out there and shake change out of your pockets?
Yeah. Let me see here. Hold on.
I don't know. You could I could put this here, I guess. I mean, if you want to do that here, if you want.
Come on, guys. $500 more. Or actually, a little bit more than that.
We can do it. Who knows? Let me see.
We can do it. I remember that other live stream.
Huh?
I remember that other live stream where we came up with it with like, was it like half an hour or something like that?
Okay, Unseen, you just gave me a link. Do you want me to put this in the chat?
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
Public chat?
Yeah, because I only can add to the public chat, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, one moment. All right. Let me see here. I'm Steve Diamond. I'm locked in Peter's basement.
Awkward.
Oh.
Would you like to send a message out? It'll cost you.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, if you someone's on the stream. Hold on, someone has joined the stream. Welcome, Simple Man.
Hello, good evening. You guys hear me all right?
We hear you fine. Yeah.
Sir.
All right, well, good evening. Happy Sunday. Christ is risen.
Really is risen.
Christ is risen.
I was a simple man in the comments asking about true Orthodoxy near Nashville, and I just discovered the whole world Orthodoxy and true Orthodoxy literally tonight, and kind of blown away at it, or shocked by it in a lot of ways, because I always
I understand.
What shocked you the most?
I think the fact that my background more so as a Protestant and coming towards Eastern Orthodoxy, really trusting in how Christ was going to preserve the church or preserves the church, and believing that after attending different Catholic masses and Orthodox liturgies, determining that Christ preserved the Eastern Orthodox faith throughout the past 2 millennium, and believing that down to my core and foundation for the past almost a year or so. But then
it's a true statement.
Yes. But then seeing this conversation around the true Orthodox and world Orthodox has me wondering, or so many more questions now to ask about that, or to now look into. Sorry, forgive me if I'm rambling there.
No, it's first off, if you just discovered it today, of course you would be rambling. It is cognitive dissonance in the highest order. The way I like to explain it to people, and believe it or not, it's actually easier to do this now than it was last year. And I'm going to cite a guy who's made it very helpful, made it a lot easier for new people. Because of how Rome and Protestantism have been self-collapsing, and also other religions, in the face of the internet generation, the amount of information that is coming out, so on and so forth, a lot of people came to Orthodoxy. They wanted to be part of the one true church. What they didn't realize, however, is that this facade of unity that exists in world Orthodoxy is little more than a marketing tactic. And when you look at Orthodox history in its fullness, it's just indisputable that you should become true Orthodox, because you already know all the facts that are there. Really, what you're dealing with is the machinations of a 20th century aberration in schism known as ecumenism or Sergianism or modernism. The Orthodox Church, as you know it, up until the year 1920, existed exactly how they present it. It's just that they hid the last 100 years because they're the bad guys in it. The best thing I can suggest for you that will definitely help you is the book The History of Resistance by Subdeacon Nectarios Harrison. He came out with it the last month of last year. And what it goes through is it goes through the apostolic period all the way through to later on as a reference book, because in every case in heresy, the people who broke off and tried to preserve orthodoxy unchanged were the ones on the right side of history. More people are discovering this, but because they're discovering it in such a traumatic fashion, aka it's literally been hidden from them, many of them started, like when we started seeing a lot more people coming out, many of them were like, how can I believe in orthodoxy at all? However, we've managed to break through that, so they realize that maybe it's not so much that they were wrong, it's just so much that they got fooled by the wrong people, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that definitely does. And that's where I saw it was like around 1920 or so. And of course, you'll correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but after reading about it a little bit, like I said, just discovering it tonight, I mean, I couldn't go back to Protestantism. I couldn't go to Roman Catholicism, still believe in Eastern Orthodoxy, but now seeing that there's this, I don't know if schism's the right word, or this break in the apostolic line.
That's up for you. Sunrise and Brian the Swede both have recommendations. Read the Sorrowful Epistles of St. Philaret of New York. Read the original 1920 encyclical. Masons wanted to adopt the papal calendar and the Christian League of Nations. So there is a lot more history to it. But let me put it to you this way. I assume you went to a World Orthodox church, right?
Yes, sir, an Antiochian one.
Antiochian one. Okay, and some of those are very nice, very traditional. 99% of the stuff that you've learned is still the same. It's literally just the people in charge. When you go into the service, especially if you go into a Greek church, etc., Greek Orthodox church, there's virtually no difference than what you're already going to see. So in that sense, you're not really changing anything at this point. It's except for the bishop who happens to be saying heretical things.
Well, and to be fair, the book you recommended by Subdeacon Nectarios, Subdeacon Nectarios was part of the Rokor under the Moscow Patriarchate.
Yep.
And I think through his study of history in the archives of Rokor and many other things is what brought him to true orthodoxy. So it's kind of a revelation for everyone at some point, and then you kind of have to decide: is this the faith that was once delivered by the saints, or is this an innovation? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And in some sense, the fact that you discovered it this early is actually good for you.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that there are people who realize this 20 years into their conversion.
Yeah.
And they at that point they feel stuck. You know, I know my priest, my family goes here, I did this many baptisms, I can't just leave, I'm attached to this building. You don't have that problem. There's no, you're not emotionally.
It becomes less about the faith and more about convenience, right? Like,
well, would I call it convenience? I mean, once it's 20 years, I mean, it's a part of your life, a part of your memories.
Yeah.
It's not as easy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I definitely recommend reading the History of Resistance by Subdeacon Nectarios. You will feel a lot better. You will feel confirmed in your orthodoxy, and you'll be ready to find a proper parish and good priest, and continue on struggling for the faith, contending for the faith.
If you're in Nashville, isn't there a long-standing parish under Agafangel there?
I can check. I wasn't aware of it. I thought that was St. John of Kronstadt Press, but that's the priest, Father Gregory, died.
No, and they have. I think if I know correctly, Isaac knows because he's up there. But they have a small work, a mission, but they don't have a full-time priest, and the one priest just comes on occasion. So it's not really an established work.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the information and willingness to share in Spirit of Christ being shared within this revelation.
Yeah, we're here
we're here for you. So don't feel like, if you ever feel like the overwhelmed or stuff, just you can always pop on. We're here every Sunday. We know I came in and Unseen came in born into true Orthodoxy. But Reader John is a convert. Father Boniface is a convert. We understand the struggle from all sides.
Right.
And get in touch with me, because we have Isaac's in Nashville, not too far from Nashville, and we have a family that moved into Tennessee just recently, but they are 3 hours west. But nevertheless, it is Tennessee, and so get in touch, and we'll take it from there. Love to hear from you. I put my email on the sidebar there.
All right, thank you. Yes, I was going to plan to reach out to you, and
good.
Hopefully Isaac at some point as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to serve.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
God bless.
Take care and have a great night.
Well, the priests are the
Father, Son, and
gentlemen.
Holy Ghost.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Well, that was nice.
I like it when they're respectful.
Yeah, I do like the respectful calls are the best calls.
Yeah.
And I like them when we can maybe catch some fish and bring them in, which is just beautiful.
Fish.
Already gone.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I'm sure he is kind of blown away right now. Like, the information is pretty.
Oh yeah, it's
he's coming
very
from world. If he's coming from world Orthodoxy, I understand it's like a whole new world.
Yeah.
But it is at the same time very familiar. So.
Yeah. So the problem is that while the churches have a certain amount of, well, like Father Joseph said, they have a lot of truth, but when it comes down to push comes to shove on some of these heady issues, they're going to compromise, and then they're going to betray their flocks in the long run. And down the road, it's just being prepared.
Well, I think near the end for me it was don't watch what they say, watch what they do, and that's when rubber kind of hit the road for my way out the door, because what they were doing versus what they were saying was heretical. So
yeah,
that's a good point.
It's super confusing too, because you look at it and you'll have these guys come out and do full videos on ecumenism and all these things.
Yeah.
But actions speak louder than words.
And then their patriarch goes to Havana with the Pope.
Yeah, right. And not a peep, right?
Yep.
Okay, and so let's see. Yeah, Sunrise says the calendar question is great too. Yeah, it is. Classic. The atomic lead. Oh yeah, that's a fish and some
leader led.
It's too late now. We've all agreed it's atomic lead.
Okay, all right.
He doesn't mind. Last I checked, he might start to now. I don't know, but
he might change his name altogether now. Who knows?
Who knows? Captain D's on talk. This new caller is on a Sunday evening. So, yep.
If he
He's a lead, led,
him,
LOL. He does.
Say atomic lead is he's on my wavelength. I was thinking fish. I was like Captain D. Yeah, hungry.
If he changes it, we'll start calling him atomic lead. Then
Yeah.
Let me see here.
He's like one of those hazard signs or something.
Once again,
just
perfunctory as we approach the 4th hour. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero on the bottom. Or if you want to donate through Give Send Go, it does take a little longer, but it does work. Okay, and Father Boniface, I don't know where he went.
He's gonna go get some fish, apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's
let
not
me see
really
here.
Brother Peter Diamond, is it? No way, right?
No, that's not. It's not. We get that every time he shows up, and then he says something really weird. It's definitely not. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm gonna switch this back to that.
Yeah, when the diamond showed up, that would be hilarious.
You
remember
would,
the caller that called
Huh?
in and it sounded like Jordan Peterson or whatever? I'm pretty sure that might have been Jim Bob because he does those impressions. But
he does a pretty good Jordan Peterson. That was pretty good.
I think that was him who called in. I've been thinking about that.
He was also the voice of the guy who wanted to be a robot priest or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that wouldn't. So whoever that was, yeah. I don't think it was Jim Bob though.
Oh really?
He
He dashed his hopes and dreams. I remember that.
Okay, let me see here. That's broken there. Let me see here. Oh, Reconquista. Have you tried grounding or red light therapy? I presume that's for Father Boniface. I have not tried grounding or red light therapy. The cyborgs haven't called in recently. I saw Jim Bob at my local Go Arts church once. That's pretty funny. Okay,
that would be fun.
Okay, it's Jim Bob. That would be funny, actually.
Wait,
I thought he was Rocor MP. That's so they just kind of switched off with him.
I don't even know how serious like people are on when it comes to where they belong online. DTC says looking into Reds like stuff, pretty interesting. Also, I want to thank you for helping the channel once again, Reconquista. And Father Boniface is trying to come back in. I think he heard maybe the red light therapy is going to work. Hold on, we're waiting. There he is. Welcome back.
Did you find some fish?
Okay, he vanished.
I just got cut off.
Oh, okay.
Just bing, just got cut off. Back.
Whitefish.
Okay.
Spots are good too.
I like cod. I like fish and chips, actually. I want to go back to England.
I had blowfish one time, and you can only like eat a very specific part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Or you'll die.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was delicious, man. It was very good.
I don't know if it's worth the risk.
I'm not going to gamble on that one.
Atomic Lee says, I think Roosh checked out from online life. Yeah, well, he became like a whole trad, and he vanished off into the darkness. Someone showed me the DC Rocor and MP celebrating with a Go Arch priest, so it's not infallible. Yeah, that's true. I think Subdeacon Guitarist has even talked about that.
I know exactly who he's talking about. Yep, that's been going on for a while.
So that Roche guy, didn't he go to like St. Anthony's and they wouldn't let him do something or something?
The Armenian guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then he was received into Rocor MP.
Oh yeah, he got angry at what was his name, Father Ephraim. And then
what was it about? Because he was like coming from like a Monophysite's church or something.
Yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I think Father Ephraim touched him and made him tingle a little bit, and then he changed his. Yeah. There's a video about it where he just felt like an electric shock go through him, which I think I read somewhere in the Fathers. That's not actually a good thing. And then he changed his tune after that, and then started becoming an Ephraimite. So.
Let me see here. Let's see here. I'm serious. It was only once. It's not his regular parish, but I spoke with him and I confirmed it with him. Father Boniface is back trying to fix his thing. Is Shark any good? I like Shark. I think Rushek, yeah, okay, not a bad move, all things considered. Made him tingle. I don't think I want to tingle. Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't want to tingle. I don't want to tingle. Oh, man. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so. Yeah,
All right, I'll choose my words more carefully.
St. Anthony's is so trad. They host Elpidoporas. Yeah, they have a giant picture of him too.
I have a feeling there's gonna be a meme about that now.
Yeah, they don't baptize like you if you're a Protestant. So they just accept your baptism because they're in the World Council of Churches.
Yep. Yeah. St. Anthony's Monastery is so trad. They host Elpidoporos and Bartholomew. Yep.
Gross.
Oh boy. All right. So we are now in the 4th hour. Let me see here. They still rebaptize them. Yes, they will rebaptize us.
Yeah.
They'll rebaptize true Orthodox. Those are the main people they'll rebaptize.
But they'll chrismate everybody.
Yeah, everyone else gets a pass for chrismation, etc. Yeah, let me see here. So, let's see here.
We don't talk about that. Well,
we don't talk about Bruno.
Oh, here we go.
What happened?
You'll see.
Panagiotis Demetrios says that monastery belongs to a blessed elder.
Who?
Anathema to Elpidophoros. Oh, I'm reading from the comments.
Hey, the Ephraimites let him come there. That's on them.
Yep. Panagiotis. Okay.
Panagiotis. Great Greek name.
Yeah. I don't understand. Okay. Okay, Father Boniface is trying to come back. Father from Left Row Court, even though he had a sign to go there, supposedly. Yep, that's true. He suddenly had another sign when he got a call from the EP.
Yeah, one of those visions.
Yeah.
It contradicts the previous vision.
It was a vision.
Yeah.
Vision.
A vision of Bartholomew yelling at them.
Yep. Yeah, the sign equals a phone call. Have you let me into the studio? Father Boniface, we see you're trying to get in, but it says they will connect their mic cam before you can add them to the stream. So I don't know if you changed anything, but try again. I'm going to boot and then just try to get in.
He might have to restart his device too.
Yeah, he might have to or log out and log back in again.
Yeah, it's an Android thing. It goes weird.
So I was told this story, and this is not one that's commonly heard, I think, about Ephraim, is that he had told those monks on Mount Athos that were under him, if they left their elder, then they would end up going to hell.
Yeah.
So when he went to Rokor, they were freaking out. They were saying, well, I guess we're going to hell because, we're not going to follow our elder where he's going to Rokor, basically.
He's also, yeah, it's true. He's also promoted the idea that you're protected by the homophorion of your elder from the heresies of the jurisdiction you're part of, which makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. I've never even heard that anywhere.
Well, supposedly those monks that were under him were talking about, kind of doing things we can't talk about on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Jumping off of somewhere, something like this, right? And I heard that was a part of the reason. I don't know.
Well, if you just randomly call what's his name, the new quote unquote elder there, Father Paisios at St. Anthony's, if you get in a real good discussion with him, he'll bring up the whole subject there. We're covered by Elder Ephraim's prayers. Because they'll start talking bad about ecumenism and blah 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 and all this, and they'll sound like they're true Orthodox, but then they like flip and say, oh, we can't break communion with the ecumenical patriarch and all that.
Right.
Like,
there's level
is
of
it cognitive
veil
dissonance?
up. Right.
Yeah.
You know, what is strange too is from what I was hearing is that, you know, they were talking about that, you know, at this EP church they couldn't baptize this person, that they wouldn't accept this but they would accept this Methodist baptism. But when they went there to the, you know, St. Anthony's Monastery, they said, well, we'll have this random monk baptize you, but you got to keep it a secret at your parish. You know what I mean? So they're
because
like,
of
kind
Athonite
of willing
tradition.
to do it, but it was very,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, because the Athonite tradition is baptized now, ask questions later. Because
yeah,
you
we
can't.
see Father Boniface is trying to get back in, so hopefully he can.
Because you
Sunrise,
couldn't. Okay.
huh?
Good.
Sunrise says Father Ephraim also praised Saint Chrysostom of Florina, though he claimed the saint regretted what he did. Yeah, not really. HC, what's the best stream or book you'd recommend that captures the entire true Orthodox case against world Orthodoxy? I get that question asked a lot. I'm hoping one day mine will be that. I'm going through some revisions on it real quick. But I would say that probably the history of resistance is probably the closest we have right now. If you want to read a really large text, Vladimir Moss's New Zion and Babylon is 6 volumes, and it is basically, with a few minor exceptions, the largest and most complete description of the history of the Orthodox Church in the 20th century. I recommend that. Panayotis Demetrius says God sent him to Arizona here for a specific reason. The hierarchy is inevitably infested by Masonic elites from the East Coast. The Catacomb Church of the Desert Fathers is
Yeah, you guys are under it, Mason. Come on. You want to come
I don't
up
know
here?
that he's under them because he says the Catacomb Church of the Desert Fathers is with you. I don't think he's referring to St. Anthony's. Reconquista Orthodox was St. Paisios' funeral, closed casket. No idea. I don't know who. You know, I mean, there's this Desert Father Paisios. I have no idea, and I don't consider Elder Paisios a saint. What? And don't forget the demon story, we published recently too. Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, the Canadian demon girl thing.
Yeah, the demon girl. The Jesuit Orthodox on the Mount Graham. Tell us about the new calendar here in Arizona. Okay, so that's all.
Oh goodness.
We have so far.
Feel free to come up here.
Yeah, you can. I mean, this is an open. Just to say it one more time, this is, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. And thank you for your donations, as we're aiming for a goal of $795 to get my car fixed, because I got it fixed, but it's financed on crazy terms, and that's what I'm waiting on.
You can come up here to argue your points. That's fun too.
Yeah, if you want to come up on the stream and you want to fight us, we really welcome that. Like, it's kind of sad sometimes when everyone agrees with us and we want someone to fight us. All right. Yeah. Elder Paisios is no different than hearing Monophysite talk about their saints. Sure, they did some good and ultimately different confession of faith. Do you think a lot of Elder Ephraim stories are fabricated? I don't know. I don't know much about to be honest. That's the thing. I know that he founded a bunch of monasteries, and a lot of people considered him an elder.
I don't really think about him.
Wacky. Huh?
I don't really think about him, to be honest.
Yeah, past that, I don't either. Let me see here.
I think about his elder, though, Elder Joseph.
There's a story of him going to this, woman's house, and this kid, avoided doing her homework, and because the elder was coming over, right? And this was total Orthodox ethos, and so he goes and he gets there and he says, "Well, come here," and he tells her, "Go get her book," and then he points out all the answers to her, in the book for her test.
That's cheating.
Well, yeah, well, and I think there might have been a story of Porphyrius pointing out gold in a long way place or something. Well, there's a story of Saint Nikitas of the Key of Caves, and he did the same thing, but the demons were working with him, telling him where places were, information that you couldn't possibly know, and it was like a replication of true miracles, and there's some form of spiritual deception in what's going on there. That's what I see, at least.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because there's a lot of other things that people talk about with Elder Ephraim that kind of point to, like levitation, for example, and some other things. So.
Well, Porphyrios taught, telepathy.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught that your thoughts could affect another person.
Yeah.
It's some weird stuff like that. I mean, and there's documents on this stuff, and that's never been taught by the Holy Father.
So is that different than Elder Thaddeus?
Telepathy. What?
It's different than Elder Thaddeus, the one who.
Welcome back, Father.
The thoughts determine your lives.
Thank you.
That's different.
Right, completely different to what Elder Thaddeus taught.
Yeah.
That's actually a valid book on the subject. That'd be a good way to sort of tell the difference between, what the church actually teaches and what it doesn't teach. If you compare those two, you know what I'm saying? You could see a big discrepancy on the teaching.
Well, in a very basic way, it kind of hints at discernment. So, the Elder Thaddeus put it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what other book talks about that. That's more of a recent publication.
I know Saint Ignatius Brentchenov has a lot on spiritual deception.
That's in the Arena, I believe.
Yeah.
But the Arena comes with a lot of other weighty stuff in there, so I don't necessarily jump to recommending that to people that
I get what you're saying there. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against it. It is a complex book, but I mean, it's for something after baptism. It's not for something before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
That's the same thing kind of with like the Philokalia, I think, I got a lot out of the Unseen Warfare book. Obviously, I named myself after, but, I got a lot out of it. I just listening to the audio book. I didn't have a copy. I recently got gifted a copy, I'm happy.
Oh, Isaac is jumping on. Welcome, Isaac. Welcome.
Microphone.
Hey, y'all. I just wanted to...
Ooh, you got a lot of gain on that mic.
Isaac?
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say hello and let y'all hear my voice.
Well, thank you. You're kind of going up a little slowly. Maybe you could raise it up a little more.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
You're good there. You're good there. Oh,
yeah, you sound good.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say hello so y'all could hear my voice. It's been a wonderful experience.
He is real.
Yeah.
I figured he was real.
But yeah, this has been awesome. I've only been in this about a year, and I mean, it's just been brilliant listening to all y'all, especially going through the World Orthodoxy. I come from a background of Masonry and stuff like that, so all my family was into that, and this has been incredibly enlightening.
How deep were they into it?
So all the way to my great grandfather. I'd spoken to Father Boniface about this, and I have legacy actually at Smyrna, or not? What's not Smyrna? It's what do you call it? Rhodes College.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's originally called the
Masonic College
of Tennessee. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Right. George K. With $10 Canadian. Thank you so much. Entering through the gates of the Triodian. Good strength, Father. Likewise, may it be spiritually profitable on this feast ending of the feast of the publican and Pharisee. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. We really appreciate every donation we get. So thank you so much.
My grandpa was a 32nd degree too on my dad's side. So yeah,
It
seems like a lot of us out here had some family in it. You know, to
Right.
some
It's
degree.
pretty common out in this area, the western parts of the Carolinas and the eastern parts of
Oh,
Tennessee.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because military, it seems like you know.
Yeah, I
if
was
you're-
military too. Yeah.
Yeah, old military dude. You're in it. So
Yep.
Civil War, especially. Yes.
right.
But anyways, I just want to say hello. Thank y'all so much.
No problem. Well, we're glad to have
Great
you
to
call
hear from
anytime.
you.
If you have any questions or
Yeah,
anything
any
like
questions?
that, just feel free.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Man, I
God
want his
bless.
mic set up. I'm gonna have to ask him about his mic setup. That was nice. He turned himself up.
It's the mic. The mic
Yeah.
makes a difference. I got a newer mic, so I can understand that. It does. A good mic can really make a big difference.
You know, I think one of the monks at Essigmenu talked about that. You know, one of those guys' funerals. I think it was Porphyrius actually, and they said that his people transporting him at night. You know, so nobody could see him because I guess they didn't want to see something. They said they were hiding something, but I don't know.
Wasn't Porphyrius blind?
You know, they say some pretty strange stuff like that. He was able to, you know, kind of warp through walls and, you know, had a excellent understanding of molecular structures. That's the way they put it.
Huh.
And there's a Leo Taxil book that there was this woman that was possessed by Asmodeus that was able to warp through walls on masonry. And what else? Yeah, they said about Paisios that there's only been 2 monks to ever, you know, sort of not been buried on Mount Athos that were, you know, that were supposed to, and one had written against them and his fingers crippled up instantly when he used the pen, you know what I'm saying? And then Paisios ended up, you know, he had dug his grave on the Holy Mountain, but ended up dying off of it or something, and that's like a big thing.
Zolotus wrote an interesting thing here. He said, "Are you aware about the earthquakes in Greece? The government was about to use those troops and police to kick out Esfigmenu Monastery."
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, try that. See what happens.
God isn't going to play with them, man. You know, I don't think you know, they'd better be careful, I would say.
Well, they could be repentant. They could be repentful, you know, and repentant, and
it's like it's like there's law enforcement that saw the cross in 1925. They changed their tune, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So maybe that could happen again. It's been about 100 years.
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing if something major like that happened to change the course.
Absolutely. It absolutely would.
And it can.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Because that must be coming up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, that had to be this year or last year or something.
No, it was 1925, wasn't it?
Are you talking about that? Oh,
the cross
yeah.
over St. John the Theologian.
I believe it was 1924, right? Or 25, one of those two.
Yeah.
I figured there'd be a big 100-year anniversary. And everybody will see how many true Orthodox are out there. Because I definitely bet they'd show up for that.
Oh,
Definitely.
you're saying if that happened again, a big cross in the sky. That somebody posted a video of one in Russia, that was in the sky
Hmm.
on I think it was on Christmas, wasn't it? Like on on the old calendar.
Yeah, yeah. I still suspect that I don't know. The way it looked was so strange. I feel it's
Kind of
like
AI-ish.
yeah. I'm not sure about it. I feel like it's to like because whenever somebody puts up like something like this, let's you have to be really critical. And what I mean by that is okay, so this is a true calendar cross appearing on top of a Moscow Patriarchate Church. Like God doesn't send corroded messages.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
hypocritical.
It's like kind of
Right.
like yeah, oh, the true cross has appeared here for us is how they're kind of seeing it.
Right.
Has
Yeah.
any true Orthodox written about Paisius and Porphyrius? I'm sure they have, probably in Greece, though. Not too much has been written here.
Yeah, that's more for them.
It was 1925, just for the record.
Yeah, so 100 years. That's got to be coming up soon. Because it was on, when was that?
The photo I'm looking at says 14/9/1925. So I don't know really.
Was it Pascha? Or no? I'm trying to remember what feast it was.
So it was
beheading of St. John the Baptist?
it was Mount Hamidos outside Athens on September 14th, 1925, according to the patristic calendar.
Oh, so then,
yeah.
Okay.
We're serving the feast of the cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, so it's September 27th, new style.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, man. So I bet there's going to be a big gathering in September. Oh, man.
Reconquista says thoughts on Neophytos. I assume you're talking about Neophytos of Morphu. We've actually talked about him in the past on the show. Subdeacon Victorious has talked about it. He plays the traditionalist, but he still does things with uniates, etc.
Yeah.
So it's mostly just an act.
He had, the faithful kissing the hands of the monophysites during a service, and got called out for it live during an Orthodox Ethos event. And he did like a half kind of apology, and he had all the World Orthodox guys pretty scandalized. They were panicking.
It was more like, my bad.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's kind of like that other bishop that got called out. That was he's like, Abitiforce made me do it. The one who went to the Coptic, I think it was.
It was the snake. It's the white.
Oh no, the Hindu temple. The one who went to the Hindu temple.
Oh, what was his name?
Sebastianos or something. I think he's the new Metropolitan of Atlanta now.
Yeah, I think he is.
I guess that's how you get promoted. Just saying.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Man, I've noticed there's a lot of videos on YouTube lately about Protestants talking about Orthodoxy. A lot of them are not very flattering.
They're becoming kind of obsessed, and I think that there's a reason for it. If we're being honest.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
There's
guys. I think I mentioned that so many Protestants and Roman Catholics are they're collapsing. It's just falling apart, really.
Well, they're craving authenticity.
Oh yeah, Memento Mori says there was that funny story about a true Orthodox priest asking Elder Paisius if he should become a priest, and he said no, but the priest acted like he got a divine message. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I remember that one, but there was another one with a nun.
You know what their logic behind that is that he should have never been a priest, so that's why Elder Paisios told him no or something like. that was their logic.
Yeah,
that
that's
he
ridiculous.
actually knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Bishop Philaretos of Artok when he was just a priest because he was
Well, Elder Paisios was never a priest, right? He was a layman.
Was he? I thought he was. Really?
I thought he was.
I could have sworn he was a priest. Odd. Okay, let me just see here.
He used to live with the zealots. They said that supposedly lived in a cave with a bunch of snakes, and they said he was in spiritual delusion. And you know, I guess he got mad at them because they were telling him like, you know, you're in delusion, you know. And he ended up. I think that's why his whole life he sort of, you know, had the opinions that he did have, because whatever experience he had with those zealots early on in his monastic walk.
Yeah, I'm not hanging out in a cave with snakes.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
Yeah.
Cave of Snakes. Now, which liberal church was that?
This was Paisios, you know, the elder that they all, you know, prop up in the ecumenical patriarch.
Yeah, it's part of that new religion called Paisidoxy.
Paisidoxy, yeah.
The Neo-Athenites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Don't they like Romanides too?
Yeah, that's their guy.
Well, seems kind of quiet right now.
Must be halftime.
No, would you believe it? I just decided to check the time.
Yeah.
It says 5 minutes and 26 seconds left of the game, which means another 25 minutes. I think we had a great show. So I mean, I don't want to just like sit around and wait out the game. That just seems, kind of pointless. Sunrise says, I'll call in and talk about fish. Well, if you want to, you've got time. Get ready to do that.
Come on.
Curious as to what you want to talk about fish for, but okay, we'll humor it.
He's gonna talk about Captain D's, doesn't he?
What's Captain D's again?
It's like a fast food fish place. It's kind of like a Long John Silver's, except better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little better than Long John Silver.
That's why I said except better.
Yeah, the one in Lakeland died out.
Yeah.
Long John Silver's was like licking grease off the floor.
Yeah, really.
With fish in it.
Scott Knox says, is the Matthewite group still viable in Greece or dying out? There's 3 Matthewite groups, not one. But there is only one that has an Archbishop of Athens, to my knowledge, unless the Pachomites have made an Archbishop. I mean, I think so. I hope so. I mean, ultimately, we have seen it. We have seen it before, where some synods get smaller and smaller. I think one of them is actually in serious decline, and the other 2 have gained from it. So right now, it looks like the Kierikites and the Stefano Synod are really kind of basically the main Matthewite groups left.
Can you confirm something for me? So somebody told me, I'm not familiar with the Matthewites that much. Are there more parishes outside of Greece for the Matthewites than there are in Greece at this point? That's what I've heard.
There aren't that many parishes outside of Greece.
Yeah, I know, but
so no, I think that they would still have more parishes in Greece.
Okay.
One thing is, and this is something that if you've been to Greece, you know that a lot of it's parochial, and so what I mean by that is that like the Matthewite one of the main Matthewite monasteries is like a historic monastery.
Yeah.
And so because it's in that locality, the local media treats it with a great amount of respect. So they're kind of like local heroes in their area.
I gotcha.
So it's not quite the same as here. Like it would be like it's more regional. So like they're like say like I'm in Northeast Pennsylvania and somebody else is in Northwest Pennsylvania, and then I showed up there, people would be like, why are you here? This is Northwest Pennsylvania. That's kind of the thinking.
I'll have to check that out next time I go to Greece.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm only running away because I'm scared to debate fish. Wait, the game I'll call in and talk about Jewish doctors, and fish. Okay. Who was this Bishop Kalinikos and why was his mouth open when he died? Do you mean Cyprian? That's possible. It could mean that they're talking about Cyprian. That's a pretty famous picture. But if I remember correctly, Metropolitan Cyprian was on a ventilator. So it's not like the thing went all the way down his throat.
Yeah, and if you hit rigor mortis, it's gonna be kind of hard to.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's like actually a sign of anything, or if it's just a side function of the medical equipment.
I would be hesitant to cast aspersions on that because I can think of at least 3 or 4 people that are considered saints that their mouths are wide open. So,
yep.
And it's just because they didn't tie anything around their mouth to hold it closed. Because a lot of them have they're still loose. They never hit rigor mortis. Their body's loose.
Yep.
So
anyway, let me see here.
Trying to remember. I venerated a lot of relics in Greece. So I'm trying to remember exactly which one I saw that. Goodness. It's been a long time.
Yeah, let me see here.
I like going to the Church of St. Gregory Palamosa. That was my favorite.
Yeah, Greg Conquista says Gregory of Colorado said he died a horrible death. Of course he'll say that. He hates Cyprian.
No bias there whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. He's just been writing horrible things about Metropolitan Cyprian and
everybody.
and
that's his shtick. Like guys, okay. So you Gregory and Colorado guys that watch those videos, his whole shtick is to cast aspersions
Gregory
on everybody.
Colorado is the Peter Diamond of Orthodoxy.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like him by himself, like not us because we're normal, but him versus Peter Diamond, that would never happen because Peter Diamond's a coward, and also because Gregory. Well, I don't know if that would. Sunrise says is Gregory's criticism of Cyprian wrong though? Yeah, to some degree, because by doing the worst possible interpretation and least charitable interpretation of what was motivating Metropolitan Cyprian, he's purposely maligning him as an evil man.
Yeah, that's kind of defamation in a way.
So yeah, it doesn't. Let me see here. Well, that sounds like my neighbor lost money. Oh, well.
Bless their hearts.
Bless her heart. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me see here.
I don't even keep track of that. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a sports guy. I'm a nerd or geek or whatever you want to call it.
Nope. And so let me see here.
I'm more interested in what version of the Linux kernel my distro is running.
Hmm?
I thought I'm more interested in what version of the Linux kernel my distribution is running.
Yeah. I mean, I'm considering switching my Linux. I had actually heard of apparently Open Mandriva is a non-woke distribution.
Oh, really?
So I was like, wow. Okay. And I tried it. I tried it on the flash drive. It's quite solid.
What kind of desktop? Which GUI does it use?
Well, that's a good question. I want to say it looked like GNOME, but I'm not sure that it is.
I like GNOME.
Yeah. But it definitely looked like GNOME. Like I'm using GNOME on my desktop now.
Yeah.
And like most of the features that are on my desktop were on the desktop that I tried on the test.
Well, I was a old Red Hat guy before it was Fedora.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a gnome guy.
Let me see. Sunrise. Gregory said he met him and asked him why he went back to the EP. This sounds like a legend. I hate to say it,
The
but Gregory
legend
loves
goes.
legends.
Let's build the legend for him.
Let's okay. So Lotus, God bless you, and how are you doing?
Your blessings, Olita. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah.
So yes,
So let me
I
see.
have been.
What'd you say? You're cutting out.
You broke up. The Lotus?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello.
Not
Yeah,
really.
we can hear you now.
Now we can. Yeah.
How about? Okay, yeah.
Don't move.
Yeah, I have been listening all this time. About the miracle of the Holy Cross appearance,
Yes.
1935. Uh, there was a second one that happened in 1937 in Crete Island, southern
Oh
Greece.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and this was actually the reason of a big, Paris grow up in Crete Island. They were saying that there were about 2,000 people who were attending this miracle down there too. So yes, we are probably celebrating them both. We should be actually celebrating them with both, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if
and
you're aware of that. Yeah, America.
yeah, then everybody will see how many Orthodox there really are.
Well, here's the challenge now. Once we were talking about, parishes and building parishes and, establishing new parishes actually, where we don't have priests. As I
Yeah.
mentioned in my comment before, like Zelos is the one who's making the establishes the churches. So the Holy Apostles they had zealous and they went all over around the world. They made the whole church. So the small example I met in my cities in Greece, we had the same thing too. Like for years and years and years, many of the parishes they didn't have priests, but they were still there every Sunday, every feast, just
Yeah.
reading. The readers were just reading.
Hmm.
Slowly, people from this parish they became priests. So it takes time, but people need to have zealous.
Yeah.
My mind is running back to 1950s and 1960s when the first Greek immigrants moved here in the West and also
Hmm.
in Australia. They didn't have any priests. They didn't have anybody. So,
Oh yeah,
but
not even a
they
bishop.
did exactly. So back then, those people they were not in a higher education level, right? They were just preliminary school and lower education level, but they had zealous, and that's how they made all those archdioceses here, and with archbishops, bishops, and priests everywhere, monasteries. So that's the most important thing. How warm are we in religion?
How
Mm-hmm.
zealous for the faith we are. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
hmm Yeah. And also about Elder Paisius, there were some questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jacob was the guy who was asking.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what was the last question. He actually, yeah, he mentioned about if he was a Zelotes. All Maldathos were Zelotes until 1970, approximately. They were all Zelotes, except Vatopedi Monastery, who was New Calendar. So they
Hmm.
had a little weird Zelotismos back then. They were in communion officially, but they were not commemorating the bishops and the patriarch. Like I have been there many times, and I have been dealing with old monks, and they were telling me like in our case, yeah, we don't commemorate his name. We might be in
Hmm.
communion with a monastery, but we don't commemorate him in our liturgies. We're making a prayer for him, for the patriarch. So even today, there are monks that are doing it, but they don't. They want to keep it quiet, right? They don't want to
Yeah.
make scandals. Elder Paisios was like that. He was in communion with Zelotes. He started from a Sphygmenu monastery. He became a monk in a Sphygmenu monastery.
Hmm.
Back then, Sphygmenu was in the same situation. They had, they were taking priesthoodness from grace from, the patriarchate, but they were actually not commemorating, like on and off, on and off. They were debating. They had many issues what to do.
Mm-hmm.
In 1972, they stopped commemorating his name. So
Was
everybody knows the story. Yeah.
was Elder Paisios? Maybe you can clarify this. Was he a lay monk or a priest monk?
No, he wasn't priest monk. He was a layman, 100%.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He never became a priest.
Okay.
And he was actually anxious to become a priest, but he preferred, from humbleness, he preferred being a monk. He was very spiritual monk. This one with the snakes and the cave, I've never heard that. I'm 90% sure that this is not true. And I know that he was actually feeding a snake milk, and all the monks around him were making really bad comments about that. And that was one of the reasons they were calling him magician.
Well, what I got the
Yeah,
story from, it was a periodical from 2004 in like an Esubino thing, and
yeah, one I guess.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's one of those things, and I first seen it on a site that was kind of attacking them for these comments, right? You know what I mean, quoting the periodical from Esugmana, and yeah, that's
Mhm.
where I found it. But yeah, it said
Well,
that one time he had lived with serpents in a cave, and the other zealot monks told him that that he was in pre-list and he wasn't very happy about it, and they told him if he left, then he was doomed to hell or something. That's what the story said. That's the way they pose it, in this World Orthodox site.
yeah, I'm not sure about those things. In Mount Athos, unfortunately, back in 1990s and 2000s, they had many scandals, not just between the Zelotes, mostly between the non-Zelotes. We have to count that 19 monasteries out of 20, they are non-Zelotes, right? So,
Mhm.
and I'm going to tell that one. So, by 1992, 1995, most of the Kelia in Mount Athos were Zelotes, 100%. Like the area that Elder Paisius was living, um, city of Saint Panteleimon, they
Yeah.
were all Zelotes. All of them, they were Zelotes. So, but how did they change? Now there is only one Kili. No, two Kilia, Zelodica. So how did they change? All of them Mount Athos. They started getting money from European Union to rebuild their Kilia, and they were overcharging European Union for construction, and they were making a lot of money. I have to tell
Mm.
that story, but this is true. This is something that the church teaches us not to do, and they were doing it. That's
Did they
how they shut their mouth off, and now they are all with the patriarchy.
did they get money from the UN as well?
UN, no,
UNESCO
no,
and stuff, right?
no, no, no,
World
no,
Bank.
no, UNESCO, no, UNESCO. This is 100% goes from European Union.
Uh,
Actually, 75% goes from European Union, 25% goes from the Greek state, the Greek government.
uh,
The Greek government, it was okay. It's actually money they were giving, they were coming from Orthodox people, or Greek tax people,
Oh,
citizens. But
Zealot
from
is
European Union, yeah, go
Reconquista
ahead.
asks, did Paisios have a closed casket?
No, he didn't, because Mount Athos, he was actually buried with Mount Athos Typicon, as I mentioned in the comment. The Mount Athos Typico, and I'm pretty sure that the monastery he is now, Suroti Monastery, the nuns are following this Typicon, I think. They are not burying with a casket. They are just tidying, they are wrapping around a big raso, black one, and they
yeah.
are wrapping, just tidying. That's how is the typicon in Mount Athos, because casket means kind of luxurious, luxury. They don't want those things. It's about humbleness, being
Well,
humble.
it's also a Masonic thing too. I think that's why he's asking it.
A whole bunch of
Masonic,
people are
no.
saying hello, so hello to all of you, and just gonna throw that out there. Continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. And also, I have mentioned that before. I would like to mention it again. Like Elder Paisius, he liked Zelotes, he liked calendars, he wasn't against us. the 115 books they have written so far, no one of them is true. No one. He wrote one book, and in purpose with alphabetic mistakes, and he gave it to his two disciples, the two monks he had with him. I think their name is Ephemius and the other one is Christodulus. So, and he ordered them, this is the only book you're going to print with those alphabetic mistakes in a purpose, because they're going to come and write books. They were keep telling that Paisius wrote these books. Paisius, this book is Paisius, but it's not going to be Paisius' book. It's going to be their themselves, the Planisius. Planisius means
Okay,
the false.
here's a question I
Yeah.
have. So, have you ever read the letter from Elder Savas of Mount Athos, or Sabas of Mount Athos?
Yeah, a long time ago, from Lavra
Okay.
Monastery.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
writes.
can you remind me, because I don't remember many things.
So in the letter, he talks about Paisios sort of telling people that, if they leave the Fanar, then Demetrius, that they'll be outside of the church. And what Elder Sava says is that these are the words of foolish children. And are you surprised, considering that there were so many bishops that were and priests that were led astray by the iconoclast? He tells the person in the letter, do you think that you're
Yeah.
above deception? And he brings
Can
up
someone show us? Sorry for cutting you. Can someone show us this letter first of all? And second, if that letter is true, because I've never heard about that letter. This is the first time. And if it's true, then Elder Paisius was a double-faced person, because on the other hand, when Archbishop Macarius of the GOC church, he went to visit him. He was very friendly with Kutlumussi Monastery. Elder Paisius told him, we're going to be united in the heavens. So if that's true, there is no salvation for us, the old calendarists. So
Right.
I am curious, if you can find this, please, seriously, please upload it. I would like to see that. And
It's been
I would like to
uploaded.
ask Elder Sabat about that.
Okay, so what you're the way to find it, it's on the Orthodox traditionalist.com, and it's a letter. It says Elder Savis of Mount Athos on the fight from within heresy, or something like that, right? And I'll post it here on the side link right here for you. I'll find it real
but
quick.
I'm curious, did Elder Paisius ever write any such a letter like this for Catholics and Protestants and other denominations too? That's curious.
No, I don't think
I don't think you know what I mean?
with ecumenism.
Exactly. So, first of all, they are trying to make him. I don't know. Actually, this comes unfortunately from Mount Athos, the current Mount Athos monks, who I have doubts if they really met him. I have doubts about that. Or they met him just for a little time, and because I have many proves that he liked Zelotes so much, aside of my father, because he's laughing. So now the thing is, like I have this, what Archbishop Macarius said. I have another one who was telling that that Elder Paisius was saying that he was experiencing all the people's prayers. I think I have mentioned that before in another live stream. Yeah, and he was experiencing, he was showing the prayers like a light, bright light from the earth to the heaven. The most brightest and beautiful one was the two of them was the Patriarch Paul of Serbia, and the other one was Metropolitan Kalinikos of the old Calderist Church of Lamia, Metropolitan of Lamia, Kalinikos. So I don't know. I have many doubts about all what they say about him. And another one, Father Athanasius, he was actually, I don't know if he's still Simonopetra's elder. When he was a priestman, he visited him and he asked him about the invisible monks in Mount Athos.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, you heard about that. So Elder Paisius, he asked him, are there any other monks more in virtues than those? Elder Paisius told him Zelotes. And he says he's not mentioning it, but I've heard that from people who were with Elder Athanasius, and he said that again anyway, I don't want to extend it.
So
So
there's 12 of them
yes,
supposedly, right?
there
And
is
then
no number. There
when
is
one would
no
die, you know, they
no.
would go. The Virgin Mary
Ah,
would
yeah,
pick
yeah.
out another one.
Okay, I
No,
have
no. There is no
I put
number. There is no number. Certain number of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Excuse me.
put the
Go ahead,
link.
Father.
No problem. I put the link in there for you for the Elder Shabbos letter.
I would like to see that.
Yep. We are going on the 51st minute of the 4th hour. I have checked with Google. It does appear that the sports ball game has ended, and the winner is all of us who are here instead.
Yeah.
So in that case, I think we're going to call it a night. Just very quickly, I do want to thank everyone who, to our guests, to those who had
Yeah.
questions, to those who, for Unseen Warfare, Father Boniface, Reader John, Zelotes, good to see you again. It's always great to have us, to have you guys on. And
whatever happened to Valetica?
Yeah, he disappeared. He never came back. I think he just maybe figured something was wrong with the phone connection. And so
what happened with Nikos?
I don't know.
Yes,
Let me see here. Sunrise says, let's do a review of the Super Bowl, watch the whole thing. I will pretend I didn't read that. And thank you to everyone, to our listeners, to those who had questions, had comments, and those who support our mission.
I will have to leave you too because I have to go back again. And yeah, so it was nice to catch up with you again. And if you
Likewise.
have any questions, yeah, you can write them down. I can answer.
Oh, that
when I
would
have
be great
time.
because we do like getting the information. Yeah, we definitely do like. You have a wealth of information that helps us immensely.
You're a Greek insider.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to those who support our mission. Thank you so much for your support as we keep trying to push forward and get everything paid while we continue doing this. Good night to everyone. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net, on GiveSendGo, or on Odyssey. Well, we remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And so, for all those who ask, God bless you. And through the prayers of our Holy Father, so Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Have a great night.
Amen.
Good night.
Good night.
Amen.
Good night.